Welcome everybody to today's session on how to sell with webinars. Really excited about showing you a little bit behind the scenes on really how to structure, how to design, how to build a webinar that sells. So in this session, I want to show you not just the theory, but also kind of the literal step-by-step structure of a webinar that's designed to do two things. We want to build a webinar that rocks hard, that is really high value, that people love. And secondly, that not only do they love it, but that it converts like crazy, that if you do a bad job, 10%, if you do an okay job, 20%, if you do a good job, 30% of the people who are on your webinar will want to buy the thing that you offer next. So let's talk a little bit about why webinars. See, smart coaches for years have been using webinars to market themselves, to sell their service and to deliver leverage coaching. You obviously, on the marketing side of things, if somebody promotes your just had a momentary freak out and thought, I better just check that it's recording. Turns out it is. I would have been terrible. Smart coaches for years have been using webinars to market and sell and deliver. On the marketing front, if I have a webinar and I run Facebook ads to that webinar, then everybody who opts in, even if they never show up on the webinar, joins my list. Likewise, if I have a joint venture database, you know, a JV partner, an affiliate, and they promote my webinar, then what happens? Exactly the same thing. When they promote the webinar and people register for it, then bam, all of a sudden I get leads. Everyone who registers for the webinar is now part of my database, and I can market them further, even if they never show up on the webinar, even if they never buy a thing. On the sales side of things, which is where we're going to focus most of our attention today, when you run a webinar to sell, like I said before, if you do an okay job, 10% of the people who are with you live will buy your next step offer. If you do a pretty good job, 20%, and if you do a great job, 30%. I've got some clients who do significantly more, but I think 10, 20, 30 is kind of a good place to aim when you're getting started with this stuff. And then thirdly, lots of us use webinars to teach our clients, a little bit like what we're doing right now. So the surf's up, and the surf can be good, but also sometimes it doesn't work out that great at all. There's some dangerous currents, some kind of danger to have, and there's two things which often trip people up when it comes to webinars. Two big problems. Number one, low numbers. You know what I mean, right? Just not enough people on the webinar. There is nothing worse than selling to an audience of one. Really hard to turn that one into, into a whole lot more than a single opportunity, right? So number one, low numbers, and number two, low sales. And in the module on installing automation, we talked about the webinar profit pipeline. How do we get people to sign up for the webinar? How do we get them to show up live on the webinar? We've got the pay up piece, which is the webinar itself that we're going to do today. And on that previous module as well, we talked about what to do with follow-up afterwards. There's 4 kinds of people on your webinar. At the end of the webinar campaign, there'll be people who bought, people who stayed through to the end and didn't buy, people who watched a little bit and then left, and then people who are no-shows, who didn't show up at all. And we follow those 4 groups up differently. Today, our job is to fix this second piece, the low sales problem. Let's talk quickly about why webinars could be perfect for you. There's a bunch of great reasons, but the first one is that there's no travel involved, right? You're at your place right now, I'm at my place. No one had to go anywhere, right? You don't have to like schlep gear across the city or across the country or around the world to go meet people. It's perfectly choreographed. Instead of having to deal with objections and excuses and stalls, we can deal with all of those things in the content before the actual offer happens. Does that make sense? So what that means is we're now able to convert prospects into clients at a significantly higher rate, because all of their objections we can raise in the content and teach away the objection. So now all of the objections are gone, and when we get to the offer, there's much less resistance. Webinars are incredible because they're high value, and linked to that, they position you as an expert. I mean, just think about it. To show up on a webinar, even like you did today, you've either got to get you've got to see an email or click on an ad. You click on those ads, you go to a landing page, and you read that and go, oh, that looks pretty interesting. I'll register. So that's, you've clicked on something, you've seen something, you've clicked on it, you've seen something else, and you've opted in. Then you add it to your calendar. Then you get some reminder emails, and at the right time you show up live expecting that it's going to be really useful. So we've done 5 things already. You've already done 5 things already before the thing even starts that position you the position of presenter as the expert. Your prospects have done 5 things even before you've opened your mouth and say, you know what, this could be amazing. Does that make sense? So positions you as the expert. Next, it's leveraged selling. What do I mean by that? Well, really simply, you could have 100 or 200 or 500 or 1,000, or even if it's 20 of your perfect prospects in one place at the one time with their focused attention on you. The reason webinars work so well is that they're event-driven marketing, right? It's not, even if the content is the same as just a video sitting on a website, the fact that it happens at a time, at a set date, at a set time, and once it's done, people show up and focus, just like you've showed up and focused today, right? Because it's leveraged selling. So now, because it's event-driven, everyone shows up, and you might have 20 or 100 or 500 or 1,000 or more people now ready to hear your message, right? Lastly, if you do this right, you can hit your income goals in a single week. So a little while ago, I met this guy called Tristan, and I'll give you the super short version. He was a prospect of mine on a sales call. He really wanted the stuff I'd been doing. He was between 13 and 15K a month for the last few months. Like, it's just like plateaued. Have you ever felt like that, where you like hit a ceiling and you can't break through, even if, whether it's 15 or it's 50 or whatever your number is right now? He just kind of hit that ceiling. And so we're on a sales call, and he's like, this sounds really, really interesting. I'd really like to do it, but I'm a bit nervous. Do you have any clients I can talk to? I said, well, sure. I've got this guy. I happened to be sitting in a van next to a client of mine. His name's Randall. We were going off to lunch with his big family and my big family, hence the van. I said, man, I'm sitting next to this guy, Randall. Why don't you have a chat with him? And Rand, is that okay? Randall, is that okay? I'm going to go for a little walk, just around the block. When you guys have finished chatting, just beep the horn twice, honk the horn twice, and I'll come back in. Is that all right? I said, cool. So I go for a walk, and they get chatting about whatever they chat about. And a few minutes later, I hear bam, bam, and so I get back in. Hey, Tristan, Taki here. Was that helpful? He goes, yeah, it was really helpful, but he's not in my niche. Do you have anyone in my niche? I'm like, well, yeah, I totally do. And I named off, like, I don't know, 3, 4, or 5 people. He goes, oh, yeah, they're all competitors. I don't want to talk to them. I said, well, you asked for somebody in your niche. Tell you what, it's lunchtime. My family's waiting. Randall's family's waiting. We've spent a fair bit of time on the phone right now, and I don't want to push you into anything. So it's Friday. Here's my number. Text me on Monday by 5 p.m. in or out, and we'll just take it from there. Cool, thanks, bye. And we had a great lunch. Anyway, so it's Monday, and I get this text from Tristan about 3:30, 4 o'clock, and it says, there's actually 2 texts. The first text says, in, followed quickly after by a second text which is saying, but shit scared. It's like, oh, right? So in but scared. All right, no worries. So we have our game plan together. One of the first pieces that we do inside Black Belt, working out the plan to turn his business into a success. How to get him from 12 or 13 to, at the time, his goal is to get to 40K a month. Anyway, long story super short, he's got this webinar coming up, and I show him what to do. He's got 100 people coming on from an insurance company. He's not allowed to sell because of the compliance department, but I show him how to build a webinar that sells without being salesy. When the webinar campaign was done, it was basically at the end of the webinar, they could get a practice growth pack, 3 things. It was like a PDF and an audio of his and a short consultation called a practice audit. Right? Really, the consultation is what we wanted to sell, and we put the other stuff in to bulk it and make it feel like it wasn't just a sales call. So by the time when the campaign was done, a week later, the appointments were done. Not all of the people who booked in, I think roughly 20 people booked in, and about 16 of them actually happened. He'd sold $336,000 worth of coaching off this webinar, and I get texts from him all the time. He's now at about $2 million a year. I mean, $160,000, $170,000 a month. 2 years later, but I get this text saying, "I paid off my mortgage in cash." Pretty good first 10 days in Black Belt. So all that to say, webinars can be amazing if you know how to do them. So the question I've got for you right now is, why do you want to master webinars? Can you do us a favor and type into the question box, please, why you want to master webinars? Ready, set, go. Scale, leverage, stabilize my cash flow, and ease the new business. Totally understand. Robert says, I like money. To achieve the same, Tibor. David, leverage my income from hours in the job, 100%. Share the knowledge I have, Chris. Increase my revenues, increase my reach. Bruce, g'day Bruce, long time no talk. Capture more people at once. Lead gen to an event, love that. Leverage my time and my money. Leverage my time, make more money, reach more people, 100% Jacqueline. I am trying to open a file over here. Wow, to increase my trust and sales. Hey Joanne, Super Jojo is on the line right now. I know I can bring clients in with 100%, accelerate my revenue to $1 million a year. Right, so do us a favor. What's your current monthly revenue? I want to ask you like a couple of quick questions just to help me get a gauge on you. What's your current monthly revenue? I'll keep you completely anonymous. Just gives me a bit of a gauge about where you're at right now, okay? So can you just type in, what's your current monthly revenue? Pay off my mortgage. Sell to many. Yeah. I want a result like Tristan. Yeah. Mana. Yep. Sell more products and more strategy sessions, 100%. Got a worksheet I really want to open up on my iPad here, and I'm having some trouble with it. Maybe if I just restart. 10 grand, 8,000, 5,000. Yep, 8 to 12, 6.5, 5, about 25 grand a month. Yep, 120 grand a month. Yep, 2, yep, bit of a mix, right? 10 to 20, yeah, cool. Yeah, somebody saying it's sad, don't stress about it. Okay, so second question is, what's the price of the program that you want to sell? And that'll help us work out what the offer at the end of the webinar needs to be. So think about the thing that you want to sell. How much is that thing? What's the price of the thing that you want to sell? Do you ever send yourself texts to, I'm just going to upload a handout for us. And again, thanks for your patience, gang. Just want to make sure we re-record this and it all comes out right. Downloads. So with webinar worksheets, that's what we want. I can edit. Hang on a sec. Sorry for the confusion. There we go. I think I can do it. Come to Papa. There we go. Is it working? It's working. Hell yes, that's exactly what we wanted. Open with PDF to image. Beautiful. All right, gang, we are in business. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about pricing, right? What I want you to think about is the price point of your offer determines the offer that we make at the end of the webinar. And so as a rule of thumb, okay, not a rule of law, but a rule of thumb, if the thing that you're selling is less than $2,000, generally speaking, we'll sell it straight off the webinar. Does that make sense? So if your thing costs $2,000 or less, let's sell it straight off the webinar. If it costs more than that, then often what we'll do is we will sell, we will offer a strategy session, a phone call. Okay? So let's just make this really, really clear. Okay, so less than $2,000, just sell it. More than $2,000, offer a call, and the sales call sells it. Now, again, that's a rule of thumb, not a rule of law. I've got a couple of great clients, Kevin and Rob, who are boardroom, black belt and boardroom members of mine. They were going on a golf trip, and what they decided to do, they're going on a golf trip, so they didn't have time to do all the sales calls. The thing they sell is $12,000 to $18,000, and on the webinar, they just, we don't have enough time to do the follow-up, so let's just offer it and see what happens. And they sold 12 $18,000 programs on a webinar a couple of weeks ago. So can that work? Yeah, it can work. It can work really, really great. Cool. Okay. So let's get back to it. So here's our job today. Our job is to build your conversion event, right? Is to design you a webinar that does two things. Number one, that converts like crazy, right? And number two, that is really high value. And so if we do an event that is all conversion and no value, people won't come back, right? You'll just burn through your list really quickly. By the same token, if your whole webinar is is all content and no sale, then again you lose, because people at the end will go, oh, that was really great, thank you. I'll go off and try to do this myself. And they won't be able to. So A, you won't help them, and B, you certainly won't help you. Does that make sense? So we want to build a conversion event that is high value and high conversion. So there are 6 big mistakes when it comes to designing or building a webinar to sell, and I want to walk you through them right now. Okay, so please grab your pens, grab your paper. I'm going to give you these mistakes right away. If I can get my iPad to work, that will make our job together even better. Right now I want to give you 6 big webinar marketing mistakes. So let's just try this iPad thing one more time. I've just restarted it. Dude, I'm really sorry about the tech problems. This thing should just work seamlessly, like it did about 3 minutes before our webinar started today. I wonder, you know what, if I had to choose between my webcam and my iPad, just switch to backup webcam. We're going to open it up. We're going to do this old new movie. Aha, there we go. Okay, team, now we are cooking with gas. Let's do this. What I want to do right now is I want to show you how to design a webinar to sell. I've just uploaded a handout into the GoToWebinar control panel for you to download if you want to. So there are 6 big webinar marketing mistakes or webinar sales mistakes. The first mistake is having no opening hook. What's an opening hook? Well, it's the reason that somebody, it's what you need to do up front to make sure that people stay with you till the end. Does that make sense? So specifically, imagine we were, instead of being on a webinar live, we're at an event together. And if in the, you go to the event, you sit in the front row, and let's say it doesn't start that well. The person's a bit clunky, a bit awkward, a little bit like the technology was this morning. And you're a couple of minutes in, but you're sitting in the front row and you go, this isn't that good. But the chances of you like standing up and walking out are almost 0, aren't they? Why? Well, because it's rude to stand up in the middle of the front row and just walk out, go, oh, this is crap, and just leave. Almost nobody would do that on, on stage or in front of a stage, but people do that on a webinar all the time, don't they? I don't know if you've probably on this webinar today. You're like, you know what, I'll give it a couple of minutes, and if it sucks, I'll leave and I'll get my hour or 2 hours back, right? That's exactly what happens on a webinar that sells. And so what our job is to make sure that at the start of the webinar that we get people hooked. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to draw out the 6 steps to a webinar that sells. Holy crap. This is like a masterclass in how to get tangled up in technology this morning. Here we go. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to draw out these 6 steps. You ready? 6 steps to a webinar that sells. I want you to draw out 3 circles like this. This is the overview of a webinar that sells. A webinar starts here and it's going to work its way all the way around to the end. Okay? So the first mistake that people make when it comes to selling with webinars is they have no opening hook. Remember? No reason for people to stay, like to get their attention and make sure they stay watching. And so in the opening, the first kind of 3 to 5 minutes, there's 4 things that you've got to do. Number 1, actually let's draw this out. 4 things that you've got to do in the opening 3 to 5 minutes. Number 1, you've got to get their attention. What do you have to get? Their attention, right? Make sure they're hooked and focused. Like you've got 2 or 3 minutes tops to grab their attention, get their eyeballs open. We do that by talking about 2 main things. Number 1, the big problem that you're there to solve, the problem that they've got that you're here to solve. And number 2, the big promise that they can achieve if they work, if they kind of implement what you're teaching them. So big problem, big promise gets their attention. The second thing we've got to do is we've got to create connection. Have you ever been on a webinar that's felt like somebody's just like reading their slides at you? And it's like, hey buddy, like frankly, if you had to just like PDF me the slides and let me read them myself, it would have been just as good, right? What's missing there is they're running, this is a huge webinar mistake. Most people run their webinars like it's an information transfer process when frankly it's designed, it should be transformation. I want you to, instead of thinking webinar, I want you to think online workshop. How do you make it, have you ever been to a great workshop where the presenter is really engaging, the whole thing is quite dynamic, it's not just having data pushed at you, but it's super engaging. What does that person do to make the seminar or the workshop really engaging like that? What do they do? Joseph, the 7th big mistake is not working out the technology before you kick off. 100%. Yeah, so they ask questions. Yes, what else? You interact with the people like we're doing right now, right? You connect, you share stories, you tell stories, you ask questions, maybe you draw, right? So what makes a webinar great is when it's less about here me pushing stuff at you and more about let's have a conversation together so I know exactly where you're at, what you need, and give you what you need. If it's more dynamic than that, much better. So I think about, instead of thinking webinar, I think online workshop. So we start by getting their attention. Secondly, we create connection, right? How do we create connection? Well, we tell stories, we ask questions, we draw on iPad, you turn your webcam on so they can see you. At the very start of the webinar, what do you do though? You do your opening minute. So let's say it looks something like this. G'day Rockstar, Taki Moore here. Really excited about today's session. We're going to kick off in about 10 minutes time. Before we start today, I want to make sure you get the most out of this. So let me give you what I call the 3 gets. Number 1, get the tools you're going to need. You know, something to write on, something to write with, and something to drink. You know, tea, coffee, juice, or water. Nothing alcoholic, probably, right? Get the tools. Something to write on, something to write with, something to drink. Number 2, I want you to get rid of anything that might distract you. So if it beeps, buzzes, flashes, or vibrates, turn it off right now and give yourself the same gift that you give your clients every week, like an hour or 2 hours, whatever your time frame is, of uninterrupted time focused on you and your future. That's the second get rid of distractions. Third get yourself in state. If you want to get everything you could out of this webinar with me today, what's the one emotion? If you could just bring more of that, your results would go through the roof. You'd get everything you could out of this. Would you want to be more curious or more passionate or more alive or more hungry or more determined, more playful? What? Can you do us a favor right now? Just go to the question box. What's the one emotion you'd like to bring to this to get everything you can out of today's session? Cassia, yes, you use people's names. I want to be more passionate, more focused, more hungry, more joy, more excitement. Great. All of a sudden, see how this environment's different? I'm giving responsibility for getting the most of this out of you. And then I'm going to ask one quick question. This is the last part of my connection piece. What's the hardest part for you about selling with webinars? Do us a favor, type that in right now. What's the hardest part for you about selling with webinars? Ready, set, go. Jeff's emotion is I'm going to bring less lost. Terrified, no one to turn up. Right, an amazing framework, not getting too technical. Feedback, nerves, getting people on the call. Right. So what have I just done? I've created connection by number 1, welcoming you, telling you we're about to start in X number of minutes. I've given you the 3 gets. I've asked you what's one emotion you want to bring to this, and I'm asking you right now, what's the one thing that you want, one thing that's the hardest part for you. All of that creates great connection. Make sense? Perfect. So the third thing you want to do in the first 3 to 5 minutes is we want to get permission. This is absolutely critical. And frankly, if you don't do this, more sales are lost because of a lack of permission upfront than almost anything else, right? So when you run a webinar to sell, you've got to get permission for 3 things. Number 1, you've got to get permission for your style. Second, your content. And third, the offer. So let's talk about those 3 in turn. Number 1, your style, your content, and your offer. Firstly, your style. Have you ever been in an audience? I know I have. I've been in an audience, and the person up the front is doing their best. They're teaching their heart out. They're probably teaching great stuff, but you just can't hear it because you're too busy. I don't know, they say a lot, or in my case, I speak really fast, and so that's probably distracting, or they're not wearing any shoes, or they've got weird hair, like because you're too busy like judging them. Is that just me, or is that you as well? Have you ever done that? You've done that. I'm sure you've done that. Yeah. So we want to get permission for your style. People are going to be judging you as well, unless you make it okay to be how you are up front. So I'll say, so I'm going to speak quickly with an Australian accent for the next 2 hours or the next 90 minutes. Please don't ask me to speak slower. I'll just ask you to listen faster. Okay, number 1, it's going to be quick, it's going to be Australian. Number 2, I want to make this interactive. Not because I think interaction is cool or it's just more fun, but because I want to know where you're at. And if I know where you're at and what you're trying to sell, then I can tweak my content and make sure I give you exactly what you need. Is that okay? So if I ask you a question, please find that question box and hit in an answer. Is that okay? Can you just type in, yep, if that's good? So what have I just done? I've got permission for my style. So let's talk a little bit about the content today, and then you share, here's what we're going to cover. A couple of people saying, yeah, me wearing no shoes on Tuesday really threw them. Dude, I don't wear shoes. Shoes are weird. I like to buy shoes, but I don't really like to wear them. It's weird. Okay? The third piece of permission you need, this is the most important one, is permission for the sale. Because what's everybody on the webinar really worried about? Like, what are they bracing themselves for? They know it's coming, right? What's the fear? What are they all going? What are they asking themselves? Yeah, oh crap. What are they going to sell and how much is it? And is it going to like push me into something? So they're like, yeah, they don't want to be sold or ripped off. So they're trying to listen, but at the same time, they're sort of bracing themselves against getting, having their wallet extracted. And so you want to be upfront about that stuff. I've got a great friend called Kerwin Ray who says, I suppose you're wondering if this is going to be one of those webinars where I teach you some great stuff and then try to pitch you on some expensive product. Don't worry, I won't disappoint you. Okay, well, that's one way to do it. I don't think it's the best way, but it's our way. How I do it, I think, is a little bit smoother. I just say, so I'm going to give you everything I can in the time that we've got, and at the end, I'll show you where you can go to get more help if you want it. Is that okay? And then people just type in, yep, 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 and now I've got permissions for my style and my content and the sale. Is this making sense so far? Perfect. Okay. So, there are 6 big webinar mistakes. The first one is no opening hook. We fixed that with a really strong open, right? The way we, the open is how we get their attention, we get permission, create connection. That's our first 3 to 5 minutes. The second big webinar mistake is teaching too much, right? Is dumping everything you know on these people instead of what they need to know right now. So I've got a quick question for you. Why do you think, as coaches and consultants and experts and people who want to help, why do we teach too much? Bruce Wilson is asking, what's in the 4th quadrant? Oh, dude, don't worry. Let's put an open loop, bro, and we'll fill it soon. Why do we teach too much? Ego. We want to sound smart. We want to prove how smart we are because we care. Joseph says, dude, sell me your webinar framework without having to buy into Black Belt. Dude, I'd love to sell you my webinar framework. It costs exactly the same amount as Black Belt. Okay, it's 20 grand, Holmes. And so if you want just the webinar framework and not the rest of Black Belt, you can totally have that. It'll cost you the same. You may as well get Black Belt as a bonus. Joseph, that's just how it rolls. Right? Why do we do it? Because we want to help. We want to add value. Because we forget where they're at. Because we want to nurture people. We're nervous about the value. Right. We want to impress people with our knowledge. So think about that for a second. Have you ever had someone, like maybe a family friend or someone you used to know from school, or someone just kind of reach out and go, I love this stuff that you're doing. I'd really like to do something similar myself. Could I take you out for coffee and pick your brain? Right? And they're like, well, you're like, okay, especially early days, maybe you don't have that much going on. I'd love to pick your brain. No worries. So they take you out for coffee and it's crap coffee, or they take you out for lunch and it's a bad lunch. Anyway, but they're curious and you're passionate, and so you grab your notebook and you're teaching them everything you know. You've got like circles and you've got triangles and you've got squares, and you're just like teaching them everything you know about how to do this thing, and you're like, wow, you go to town and you drop boom, value bomb after value bomb, and they would go, wow, your mind blown. And then they, at the end, they're like, thank you so much, that was amazing, and they leave. And you're on your way back to your car going, wow, I just kind of dropped the juice on that. I gave them everything. So how much value did I give that person? And it's like, amazing, you feel really good about helping. Right? Or is that just me? That's exactly how it used to be with me. Let me ask you a question. Have you done that with somebody? Oh my God, so many times. Exactly. So here's the question. With all of the magic that you just dropped on them, all of the value that you just gave, what do they usually do with all of that? What do they do with what you gave them? Nothing, 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 zero, nothing, sweet FA, nothing, 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 nothing. They don't do squat. Exactly. Next question. If they didn't do anything, what kind of results do they get? None. No results. No change. Why? So let me ask you this. If they don't do anything with it and they don't get any results from it, how much value did you actually give? Like, honestly? None. It's mental masturbation. That's a horrible concept. I wish I could take back those words, but I can't. You gave them information, not transformation. And that's exactly what we need to have. The reason these webinars are so important isn't just so we can teach them everything we know. It's so we can teach them everything they need to know, just what they need to know to be able to make a great decision for themselves and in their future. And it might be in your direction or it might not, but we just need to give them enough that they can make a decision. And that's our job. Make sense? So if the second big webinar mistake is teaching too much, the solution is, instead of teaching on our webinar, our job, instead of teach, is to stretch. What's the stretch? That means when we teach our content, we're teaching people what we need to teach them to stretch the gap between where they are and where they want to go. I want you to write this down, please. Ready? On a webinar, we teach people what to want. That's our job. The webinar's job is to teach people what to want. And if you think about the timeline of a webinar that sells, let's say it starts here at the o'clock mark, 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock, whatever it is. By the time you've done your intro, your promise, your permission, here's where we're going to go, here's how this is going to work, your connection piece, we're probably, let's call it 10 minutes in. Okay? At the 45-minute mark, we're going to transition into the offer, the invitation, which gives us this time right here to sell. To teach. So this is the opening, and this is the offer and what comes after the offer. We've really only got 35 minutes to do our thing. And in that 35 minutes, there's only enough time to say teach 3 pieces of content. Make sense? 3 pieces of content. So for those 3 pieces of content to really count, to make it worth your while and their while, every piece of content has to be able to do 4 things. Number 1, most important, it has to further the sale. Right? If it doesn't help you sell the thing at the end, we've got to pull the content out. Number 2, it's got to give you the chance to show proof that it really works. Case studies, testimonials, screenshots, whatever it is, like stories that go, hey, this stuff actually works. Number 3, it's got to keep people engaged. Every piece of content's got to keep people engaged with story, question, drawing, etc. And finally, it's got to be perceived as valuable content. So it's got to further the sale, show proof, keep people engaged, be positioned as valuable content. The way we do that is a framework, right? Every one of these 3 content modules over here, there's a framework for how to do it well, right? There's 9 things that we do for each of these things, which make sure that it shows proof, that it's perceived as valuable, that it keeps people engaged, and it sets up the sale really, really nicely. So you're going to do those 9 things here, and here, and here, right? So the second big mistake is we teach too much. We've talked about why. We've talked about the danger. What we want to do is we want to teach for transformation, not just for information. So what I want to do right now is I just want to pause and time out. I just want to find out from you, what's been most helpful for you from this training so far? Mish says, do you have a script? Of course, I've got a script. Everything I teach is a framework, right? Every one of these pieces, the opening, the stick, the stretch, the transition, the offer, the party, there's a framework for each of these pieces. Otherwise, you're just winging it, right? You can wing it and get average results. You can work really hard, or you can follow a framework, and the framework makes it easier. Tools and structure, teach people what to want. Yeah, reminders of the clock format, Jacqueline. Yeah, covering teaching too much, how to frame it, having each piece of content set up for sale. I want you to think about if the offer that we make people, let's say this is the offer right here. It's how to sell with webinars, how to automate your marketing, and how to leverage your coaching. That's kind of my offer, right? If I've got 3 pieces of content designed to get people to want that, what would my 3 pieces of content to be? Well, one about how to sell with webinars, one about how to automate marketing, one about how to leverage content, leverage coaching. So when I teach this and that and that, and now you want it, when I say, hey, I've got this thing that helps you do these 3 things, people are like, oh, that's exactly what I want. That's the job of the 3 pieces of stretch content. Third big mistake, resistible offers, right? You've been around long enough to know about making an offer they can't refuse. It's got to be a complete no-brainer. It can't be too desirable, and it can't be too clear, right? They're the 2 things we want to work on. Make it as clear as possible, as desirable as possible. If people don't take it, it's usually because either they didn't want it or it was confusing. Right? So how do we make it irresistible? Make it super clear. Right? Here's what it is, here's what it'll do for you, and here's how to get it. Super clear. Number two, make it super desirable. Sometimes it can be really, really clear, and it makes me really, really clear that that's not what I want right now. Cool? Resistible offers. So the third piece of a webinar that sells is the invitation. We've got the opening, the stretch, and the invitation. Right? In a minute, when I show you the slide deck for a webinar that sells, you will see exactly how that works, okay? The opening, the stretch, the invitation. Perfect. Now what? Well, those are the three essential elements. You know, red equals essential elements. These are kind of the obvious parts. We've got to start somehow, teach them stuff that makes them want it, and then give them an invitation to do more with you. So they're important, but then they're sort of basic. These three in blue, if the reds are the essential elements, the three in blue are the influential elements. These are the pieces which are going to make the biggest difference for you conversion rate wise, okay? Okay, so let me teach you these next ones right now. Again, we're looking at the 6 big webinar mistakes. Number 4, no stick strategy, right? Do you remember from the clock face, you know, pie charty thing that I drew before, what time the offer starts? What time is that? 45 minutes. Yeah, exactly right. Here's the thing. If they're not with you at the 45-minute mark, then you lose out, don't you? Right? At the 45-minute mark, that's where the magic happens. So they've got to be with you until 45 minutes or it's all for naught. And so what we want to do is we need to make sure that they stick around to the 45-minute mark. We call that the stick. Okay? We call that the stick. And so what we've got to do is we've got to get people to stick around to that 45-minute mark where we're going to invite them to do the thing. And so how do you do that? I've seen people do all sorts of stuff from offering, I've seen people like give away free iPads. And it's just stupid. You totally don't need to do that. Here's what we do. Just say, so I'm going to give you everything I can in the time that we've got. Take the very best notes you can. And if it's helpful, you know, you won't get everything down, but you get key points. If it's helpful, I'd be happy to give you a copy of my slides and a recording, like an audio recording of today. Would that be helpful? And everyone will type in, yeah, that'd be great. Perfect, so let's do this. At the end of the webinar, we're going to open up for a Q&A session. Can you do us a favor? When we get to the end of the webinar in that Q&A section, can you remind me? And I'll show you how to get a copy of the recording and the slides. Is that cool? And people say, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So they think you're being generous, but what you've really done is you've done 2 things. You've said, hey, there's this cool thing, and you can get it at the end. But not just can you get it at the end, but you're now responsible for sticking around at the end to ask me for it. Make sense? That's how we do the stick. If you don't, you lose people before 45 minutes and they're gone. Number 5, awkward transition. Awkward transition. This is huge. Something happens on a webinar. Something happens on a webinar in between these 2 pieces, in between teaching your stuff and the offer. Something happens right in here, right? People go from super confident to really awkward. It's like they go through puberty again, right? Why do they freak out there? Well, because frankly, they don't feel comfortable selling. If we drew a graph, which was their, what would we track? I think if we track, number 1, time on the webinar. In other words, you know, from start to finish. And vertically, we track coolness. Right? We're going to track coolness and we're going to track time. What happened? Coolness is like how cool you are, obviously. While you're teaching your stuff, your coolness is probably really high because we love our stuff. We want to help. We know our stuff. We're really comfortable with our stuff. We're passionate about it. We want to share it with everybody. So our coolness is really high. And then something happens. We get to that moment. You know the moment, right? The moment when we've got to start to talk about our thing. that moment. What happens right there is our coolness goes from green to red. It goes crap. We go through puberty, our palms get sweaty, our throat dries up, we get all nervous and we feel uncomfortable and awkward. Have you ever seen that happen? Either to somebody else when you've been in the audience or even yourself? Have you seen that? I'm guilty of that. It feels crap. Shelley says, what's the difference between the hook and the stick? The hook is what gets people's eyes glued to the screen. The stick is what gets them to stay around to the end. So think about what makes them decide, yes, I'm going to watch this, and what makes them go, you know what, I'll stay to the end. Yeah, crash and burn. I've done that. Yeah, it's awkward. Okay. So why that happens is because the transition is awkward. And the reason it's awkward is because people have a misunderstanding of how the webinar's supposed to be, right? So on the webinar, you've got to do two things. Obviously, you need to teach your stuff, and then we need to sell the next step, right? And so everyone, if you've ever run a webinar, you know that we teach and then we sell the next step. That's kind of how the webinar goes. And so, funnily enough, we feel really good while we're teaching and we feel really bad while we're selling, right? The problem isn't teaching. Teaching is really important. You've got to teach, otherwise no one's going to buy a thing and it's not going to be useful. And the problem is not selling. Selling is really important. If you don't sell, then nothing happens. So the problem is not the teach. The problem is not the sell. The problem is this word right here, then. Because the moment I think it's teach, then sell, it makes me think that they're two separate activities. I do this thing I feel good about, and I do that other thing that I feel awkward about. That is the problem right there. And so I just want you to know up front that we're not going to teach, then sell ever again. Instead of teach, then sell, we're going to teach and sell the whole way through. So while I'm teaching people what to want, right? So while I'm teaching people what to want. And while I'm making the offer, I'm doing it in an educational way. The whole thing is smooth. The whole thing is teach, and the whole thing is sell the whole way through, because I'm teaching people what to want. And when I make my offer, I'm doing it in a way that feels like content. The whole thing is teach, and the whole thing is sell. And so what happens when we do that is your coolness, which frankly is really important, your coolness stays strong all the way through. Okay? So let's link this back to your transition. The reason people transition awkward is because A, they think about the teach and the sell as two different things instead of knowing that they're one piece. And then secondly, they've got no language to go from stretch to invitation smoothly. So let me give you the words to use right now. Remember earlier on when we were talking about permission for the sale? I said, I'm going to give you everything I can in the time that we've got. And then at the end, I'll show you where to go to get some more help if you want it. Remember that? So all we have to do is refer back to that promise. And in our transition, what we're going to say, word for word, is, remember at the start of the webinar today, I promised that I'd give you everything I could in the time that we've got, and then I'd show you where to go to get some more help if you want it. Remember that? Yeah. Well, let me show you where to go to get some more help around this stuff right now. And now we can just talk about the next step. I built this thing. It helps you do this, right? So that's the transition. So what have we got? We've got the opening, which gets people hooked. We've got the stick, which makes them stay to the end, which reminds me, Bruce, the stick is really about is about retention. It's about keeping people to the end. So let's put that in here. Yeah? So remember, in our opening 3 to 5 minutes, attention is about gluing their eyes to the screen. Connection is about opening their hearts, connecting with them as people. Permission is about opening their mind. And retention is about keeping their butt in the seat. Cool? So we're nearly done. There's one last webinar mistake before we break, and I'll show you how the thing works. Okay? Mistake number 5 is stopping at the end. At the end. One of the things which happens a lot with webinars is we go through, the opening, the stick, the stretch, transition. We make our offer, and then we stop. We're kind of done. We're a bit spent, and so we stop too soon. And there's a bunch of people who, like some people, there's people in your webinar who are like, yeah, no matter what, I'm not buying a thing. There's people who are like, this is amazing, exactly what I want. And then there's people who are on the fence and just need some help deciding if it's for them or not. Yeah? So if we go, hey, thank you so much, this has been great. Yeah, this is the offer, go buy my stuff. Okay, thanks everybody, take good care and I'll see you later. And you hang up. There's people all around the world who are sitting there at the computer going, oh, this looked really, really good. I had some questions. I think it might actually be for me, but I'm not 100% sure. And we've just robbed them of the opportunity to get help. And you've robbed you of sales. If you don't do this next piece, you're going to lose 30% of your potential sales. Literally 30% of your potential sales come in this bit here. So what's that bit called? Well, we call it the party. And in the party, we're going to do 3 things. Before I tell you what the 3 things are, I want you to know that on your webinar, there are 2 times when your energy's got to be at its absolute best. Like most people, they put all of their juice into the content, all of their energy into the content. And so by the time they get to the offer, they're kind of a little bit done, a little bit spent, a little bit drained. So the first thing I want you to do is when you start the offer, you've got to like bring a game energy-wise. The next thing is what often happens is we do the offer and then we're kind of done. We've got to step it up again. Because now you've given them the offer, and the party's job, we need to turn our energy back on and get everyone who's on the fence to decide in or out one way or the other, but not leave it to chance. Okay? So in the party, we're going to do 3 things. Number 1, we're going to welcome the buyers by name. Right? Welcome the buyers. They will tell you, here's what I need. When they buy, rather, you'll get a little notification, an email or a shopping cart alert or a ding, saying, Bob just bought, and Adam just bought, and Alex has just joined us, and Marty's on board. You're going to get an email or a notification. So you welcome them by name. Marty, so excited. We're going to have an absolutely incredible time. Adele, I can't wait to help you with this. Welcome aboard. Aisha, let's do this. Brenda, Brittany, can't wait. Bruce, dude, it's been ages, long time no see. Dev, time to roll. Greg, let's do this. He-Man, Jason, Jim, Joanne, right? Welcome the people who buy as they do. What happens to them? If you've just bought and you hear your name called out, what does that do? Mana, I'll answer your questions in a bit. Great questions. What if you're selling a consultation? How do you get a notification? Every time somebody books into your calendar, you get a notification. Yeah, so people feel good, right? How do you do the party if the call to action is a scheduled call? Dude, exactly the same. Right? Now you're answering the question, is this consultation right for me? It's exactly the same. They're buying a consultation or they're buying a product. One they pay with time and one they pay with money. Sometimes they pay with both. So the first thing we do is we welcome the buyers by name. Makes people feel really good. It also shows everybody else that others are doing it. A little bit of social proof. Secondly, we future pace their buying experience. We tell them that if they do this, now that they've done this, here's what's going to happen next. Because there's this thing called buyer's remorse, post-purchase dissonance, right? I've done it and I start to look back and go, oh, did I do the right thing? The easiest way to stop me feeling unsure about what I just did is to focus me about what's coming up next and get me excited about moving forwards instead of thinking about should I have done it or not. So we tell them. So here's what's going to happen next. Number 1, you're going to get added in about 20 minutes time to our private Facebook group. So you can meet the rest of the gang. Secondly, we're going to book you in for a 10-minute, whatever it is, right? A 10-minute interview. Thirdly, you get access straight away to Black Belt members, the members area. And when you get in, I want you to notice the bonus tab. There's some special bonuses up front, even some stuff that I haven't even told you about. That'll help you get your return on investment in this program in the next 2 to 3 weeks tops. Okay? Blah, 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 blah. So I'm telling them what's coming next. Now, if I've just bought and I was a little bit unsure, but I did it, and now I hear about all the cool stuff that's coming my way, how do I start to feel? Yeah, I feel awesome. I feel acknowledged. It makes me feel cool. Gets me over any doubt. Exactly. Personalize it. They feel included and acknowledged. Yes. I feel like I'm in the tribe. Acknowledged. Okay, perfect. Now, what about this? On the flip side, what if I haven't bought yet and I hear all of the cool stuff that the other guys are getting? Now, what do I feel? FOMO. Yeah. Jacqueline, I'll get there, trust me. Yeah, if I missed out, I feel like everyone else is getting the cool stuff and I'm not invited to the party. That's exactly the point. So in the party, we do three things. Number one, welcome the buyers by name. Number two, future-pace their buying experience so they all feel good and everyone else feels like they're missing out, which they are. Thirdly, we open up for Q&A, which, by the way, we're going to do in a couple of minutes' time. We open up the Q&A, and when we do it, we're looking to answer one core question. For everyone who asks a question, so we'll say, what I'm going to do right now is we're going to open up for question. By the way, I'm in role play, not actually doing it. We're going to open up for Q&A. So if you've got any questions today about the offer or how it works, or will it, or a bit about your situation and will this work for you, or anything about growing your coaching business generally, type your questions into the question box now. Now, usually on a sales webinar, I don't unmute people. I read their questions like we're doing here. It gives me more control about which questions to answer first, second, and maybe even some not to answer, right? And so we open up the questions, and while we're reading out there, while we're answering questions, we have our buy now slide up on the screen, and no matter what they ask, what we're really saying is, blah, 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 blah is my situation, so is this right for me or not? And if it is, you tell them, and if it's not, you tell them, and you tell them why. Is that helpful? So they're the 6 big pieces of a webinar to sell: the opening, the stick, the stretch, the transition, the invitation, and the party. I want to give you one little piece before we pause. When you run a webinar to sell like this, you run it start to finish clockwise, right? Of course, it makes sense. But what most people do is they run it clockwise, but they also build it clockwise. They start with, how am I going to start? They just kind of build their slide deck linear, and it's a huge mistake. What you do first is you start with the offer. What's the offer you're going to make at the end? And then we break that offer into 3 pieces, which informs what our stick content should be. Which informs what our stretch content should be, right? Which informs how we should start the webinar. So we build it backwards and we deliver it forwards. And that's how you build a webinar that sells. So what I want to know right now is what's been most helpful from this piece for you. Lou or Tone, great to have you here. What's been most helpful for you from this conversation so far? Namiki, good to have you here. It's been ages. So many familiar faces. This is awesome. Rowan Dredge is on the line. One of my best, most favourite people in the whole world. So what's been most helpful for you? Reverse engineering it. Yeah, the overview, says John. Structure, process, insights. And to be really straight with you, I've given you high-level overview. Each one of these pieces, each individual piece has a substructure, right? The reason I'm able to create this stuff, the webinar content really fast, is because I'm just filling in boxes. Do you remember earlier I talked about this thing? So the stretch content has a structure, and you just do it times 3. The opening has a structure, and you do it times 3. The invitation has 2 structures. If you're selling a consult, you follow that structure, and if you're offering a product, you will use the product close. The instant appointment system on the left or the product close on the right. There's structures for all of this stuff. If Macklemore, the rapper, was here, he'd say there's layers to this shit, player. And then he'd say tiramisu, which I never quite understood that line, but Build it backwards. Yeah, how to run the party. Yeah, dissecting the party piece. The last part, build it backwards. 100%. Overall framework, amazing, Tommy. What are the 3 gets at the start? Get the tools, get rid of distractions, get yourself in state. Framework, how-to's been awesome. Perfect. Build backwards, deliver forwards. Yes. Structure and the psyche. Permission for the style, content, and offer. Carol. Perfect. Total design and delivery framework. Thanks. Build it backwards. Yeah. Okay. Reminder about high energy times. Great. So what I'm going to do right now is I want to walk you through. One of these in practice. So I'm just going to give you a quick walkthrough. I'm not going to show you every slide because frankly you don't need every slide. I'm just going to give you a quick walkthrough just to show you how this works in reality. So let's do this right now. By the way, I know we've got a bunch of people from the case study program on the line right now. We've also got a bunch of guests with us today because we're re-recording. I'm going to share something that is proprietary, that is black belt only, and I don't normally share it on a webinar like this. I need to ask that you not record this next piece, please. I'm going to give you 1 minute, if you are recording this webinar right now, to stop it and just frankly, be a good dude. What I'm about to share is really, really useful. I'm happy to show you, but it's my IP. I spent years and years and years of my life building this thing, and I don't give it freely. I'm happy to show it, but I can't hand it over. Is that cool? On the GoToWebinar control panel right now, there's a button which is like a hand up button. If you're cool with that, please press the hand up button. If you understand and are cool with that. Perfect. Adam, Alex, Amy, Andiop, Andrula, I'm looking for hands up from you. Lots of people whose names start with B don't have their hand up right now. Oh yeah, we're good. Karina, we're good. Diego, Donald, Thompson, not Trump. Thank you, everybody. Great. So what I want to do right now is I want to walk you through the presentation, the slide deck that does all of these pieces in action. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to flick from the presentation itself to the map I've drawn here and show how they link together. So obviously, we're going to start with the opening, right? It goes like this. It's got a title slide. By the way, I should say up front that I think there are, when it comes to your coaching business, there are a couple of different ways you can run this. And where did I put my pen? There. When it comes to helping clients win and deciding how you structure your coaching business, there's a spectrum. And at one end of the spectrum is what we call done for you. Does anyone here, thank you, I'm going to put your hands down. Does anyone here offer done for you services for your clients? Maybe you do done for you ads or done for you websites or social media. Hands up if you do done for you stuff for clients. Okay, yeah. So there's a few of you, right? Done for you is amazing for the client because now they actually get it right. It's hard work for you because because now you're, their gain is your loss. Now you and your team have to do it. It's hard to manage. On the other end of the spectrum is do it yourself or DIY, right? And do it yourself is great for you. Like think about every course you've ever bought, right? You pay the $2,000 and you buy the course. Most of the courses are do it yourself, right? It's here's the stuff, good luck. Really good for you because you don't have to do it, and frankly, really shit for them because they almost never implement it the way you want them to. Would you agree? And so I think that there's either one of those lets somebody down. On the right-hand side, you work too hard, and on the left-hand side, they don't get the results that they're really after. So I think there needs to be a third alternative, somewhere here in the middle. Something that takes the best of done for you, which is that they win, and the best of do it yourself, which is that it's easy for you to deliver. Yeah? Without the negatives. And so I think that sweet spot is called done with you. And everything I do in each of our programs, right, is done with you. It's basically, it goes like this. I'll teach you the stuff, then I'll give you the template so that now you can teach is easy for me to do. Then I'll give you the template so it's easy for you to win. And then thirdly, we'll critique it and pimp it, and I'll still have the Tucky special sauce. I think that's what you want to do. So this slide deck is a deck that I built for clients, and it's built with this done with you piece. And by the way, if you're a coach, I think done with you, frankly, is a secret weapon. Okay. So let's do this. Recorders, I know you've been recording. Let's cut this here and make this video 3 for how. Is that cool? So how to go from problem to result in short time is the title. If we've got new people on the webinar, so you need to introduce yourself. My name's Taki. I help smart coaches who can't scale to amplify their business and simplify their life. Promise and permission. This is the This is still in the opening piece. Remember we talked about, so promise is this piece, and permission is permission for your style and your content and your sales. So we're kind of in this graphic here, yeah? Now we have our stick strategy. Now it's a done for you template or a done with you template. Some of my clients have made the mistake of leaving the duct tape picture in. The duct tape is a metaphor for stick strategy. We don't say, you know, if you stick around to the end, I'll send you some duct tape. That's just weird. I've had a few clients do that, and it's a mistake, right? Then we do our connection question. What's the hardest part for you about insert your topic? Now, you can either tell your story or you can tell a client story. I prefer to tell a client story because I think by the time people have showed up on the webinar, they already think that I'm going to be useful, and I'd rather just get into the stuff. So I like to tell client story, but if you want to tell your story of how you were homeless and lived in a car, and then then you turn it all around, you can tell that story. But I think it's more useful for the prospect and frankly more beneficial for you to tell a client story. So here was their problem. It was really bad. We helped them figure out this, and they implemented, and they got these amazing results. It was kind of a short version of the hero's journey, and that's why I want to share this with you right now. And then we check it and go, so what's been most helpful for you? And people will type in their pieces. Okay? So where are we at? Now, we're ready for the stretch. Okay, we're ready for this piece here. So we're going to teach 3 pieces of stretch content. For each one, we set the scene and introduce the topic. We give them like the first 30 seconds of a movie. Put them right in the heat at the time when the stakes are at their highest and the emotion is high. We future pace. If they get this wrong, here's the frustrations you'll face and the fears you'll go through, and here's the benefits that you'll get. Then we teach the stuff. There's a few different slide layouts for that. Yeah, a few different slides. Then we show a proof piece. We show a story of a client to show that this works. Remember, one of the pieces we needed to do was make sure that every piece of content shows proof. Then we say, hey, so I've told you about Bob and I've told you about how to run webinars. Let's talk about you for a second. And we ask a stretch question. And the stretch question might be, if you talk about the 6 big mistakes, which one of these webinar mistakes have you been making? And what's it cost you? Which one of these mistakes have you been most guilty of making? And what's it cost you so far? And then we say, great, so now you've got a choice to make. Now you know that this stuff is real. You've got a simple decision to make. You can keep doing it the old, slow, hard way. You're dealing with objections and excuses and stalls one-on-one with clients. But you can go, you know what? This webinar thing is exactly what I need. What I want you to do is make a decision right now. Do I want to keep doing the way I've been doing? Do I want to master webinars? We paint the 2 choices and we draw a line in the center and we say, great, what I want you to do right now is to type into the question box, are you going to keep doing it the old, slow, hard way, or are you going to master webinars? And they decide. And you go, and that's how, and then we link back to the original promise. And that's how you go from problem to promise in 30 days. Now, let's just pause right there. That's one of the pieces of stretch content. Yeah, we do the same thing for the point 2 and point 3. But can you see how that gets people to want what you got? When we get to the end of the 3rd pieces of content, we transition. This is a more elaborate transition, one that we use, called the big question. It's like, I don't know why you showed up today. And we list out the top 3 problems. It could be because you just don't have enough leads. Secondly, it might be that you're tired of wasting time with prospects that don't go anywhere, or you're tired of doing webinars that don't convert. And thirdly, you may well be really frustrated of doing one-on-one time-consuming coaching that has you capped out at like 5, 10, 15 clients, not making anywhere near the kind of money or anywhere near the kind of difference you want to. That could be why you showed up. So now you know 3 things. Number 1, you know that manual prospecting is slow and it's hard and it's messy. And the secret is to stop doing the manual marketing and start to automate. Secondly, that selling one-on-one and dealing with objections and excuses and stalls, at best you'll get a client or 2 here and there. But what the real secret is to run webinars and have 20 or 30 or 40 clients join you all at once. And third, that coaching time for money is a recipe for burnout or going broke. And the secret is to run a leverage coaching program. They're the 3 takeaways. So that brings up a question, doesn't it? The only question you've got to be asking right now is, well, how do I do it? Well, you've got a choice. You can do it slow or you can do it fast. You can do it slow, try to trial and error, some of the stuff that I've talked about today. We all know that trial and error is the slowest, hardest way to get anything done. We end up breaking stuff and everything takes 5 times longer than it's meant to. Or you can follow a proven system, a system that's been proven to work with my business, clients' businesses here in Australia and all around the world, right? So you can slow it, or you can fast it. The system I built is called Black Belt. Now, let me tell you up front, it's not for everybody. If you're doing less than $10,000 a month, it's not for you. It's not for startups. It's for people who are already moving, got through fear and into action. Number two, it's not for people who don't like to learn and won't take action. 100% not. Thirdly, it's not for you if you don't want to build a more leverage model where you can have more fun and help more people and make more money. If any of those three things are for you, I'm going to ask you to kind of, whatever, no matter what happens, don't jump on this opportunity, right? But I built it to help this kind of person with that kind of problem, right? I built it to help smart, savvy, and incredible coaches who just don't have enough clients, aren't making enough impact, and are working too hard. It's designed to help them do three things. Automate the marketing so their pipeline is always full. Sell with webinars so that you can convert 20, 30, 40, 50 people each week on a webinar, either live or automated. And thirdly, to help you scale your coaching business, you can help more people. Here's what's in it. You just walk through the component pieces, step by step by step. Okay? For each piece, here's what's in it. Here's what it'll do for you. Here's a little bit about how it works. Here's what it's worth. And then you do the same for the next piece. But obviously, there's a deal. And we'll talk about deals and guarantees when we get to the Q&A piece in a minute. You guys are special. So there's a special, there's normal price is this, but you guys are special. So here's your deal, right? Then we tell them about the guarantee, how we're going to reverse the risk. And then we give them the special deal just for today, right? And the deal is usually, if you buy it in the next 4 days, it's this. If you buy it before the webinar finishes, you also get this and this and this. And if you're one of the first 5, you get this. And you just walk through the timelines, the limits, what deadline, what deals expire when. And you tell them exactly where to go, exactly what to order, and exactly what to expect when they do. Then we do a 90-second summary. So just to recap, you get this and this and this, and it's designed to do this and this and this. And here's where to go, and here's exactly what to do. And then we welcome the new clients, we future-face their buying experience, and we do strategic Q&A. We map this out on paper before we go to slides. We talked about plan it backwards, and we use this tool called the pitch deck planner that designs the webinar out. Let me just pause right there and time out. From seeing it in action, what's the big aha that's popping for you? What's the big aha that's popping for you? The simplicity, says Joanne. Head dump onto paper, 100%. Sequencing it. Everything moves towards the sale. Everything. Yeah. There's not a slide, there's not a single slide, a single piece of text by accident. It doesn't mean you can't wing it, dude, because ad-libbing is fun. But you can freestyle in a framework. Planned content wins. Yes, the planning chart. System looks so simple. Jorgen, of course. Show them their problem, show them your solution. Exactly. The structure's fluid. Yeah. Jeff says, I've learned my webinar sucks. Okay, well, now you know, frankly, now you know how to fix it. And if I had NLP skills, I'd say, so what you need, Jeff Nelson, is you need to find someone who can help you with that stuff. Is that what you do? You're like supposed to tap at yourself? I don't know how it works. Smooth, highly structured, easy to follow a system. Exactly, Jeff. The invitation. I haven't really been selling at all. Proven method. Yeah, keep relating it to their problem and their desires. Yes. Proven benefits over features of what you're offering. Yeah. The logistics are the least sexy part of what you do. Damaging a mission sets a frame for them working. Yeah, well, it's not even a damaging a mission, dude. It's mostly just a statement of fact. Like, I do my best work with people who are already past $10,000 a month and moving. Right? Yeah. Okay. So we talked about what's been most valuable for you so far. What we're going to do right now, editor, you're going to cut. By the way, the reason I clap is so that when they see the audio track, they can see some spikes, right? And what we're going to do right now is we're going to open up for Q&A around your webinar. Okay, so I'm here to answer any and every question you've got around how to build a webinar to sell. How can I best serve you today? So here to help. Let me just get some pages because I guarantee I've got 1 page left in my notebook, and I guarantee we're going to need a lot of these. So there's been a few questions about where do I get the pitch deck planner, that kind of 1 pager, where do I get the slides and all of that stuff. Obviously, if you're a Black Belt client, you get all this stuff, it's in Black Belt members. If you're in the implementation program, a bunch of those tools will be uploaded in the next couple of days into the implementation program site, not the slide deck, but all of the tools and worksheets that surround it. Cool. And if you're neither of those things, well, then you've got an incredible education for free, and I'm sure you're eternally grateful. All right, let's just get a drink of water here. I'm really glad we got through our tech issues at the start. Okay, let's open up for some questions. Let's have a look. What do we got? How important, and this is Adam, how important is it to offer a lead magnet before a webinar to sell coaching around $1,000? How okay is it for me, for my evergreen webinar, to be my first step to direct traffic to? So Adam, this is a funnel question. And the question really is, if if coaching for around $1,000, I'm going to assume it's $1,000 a month, but it might just be $1,000. Either way, is the offer, what should the funnel look like? So let's just say here is your marketing channel, whether it's Facebook ads, or it's email to your list, or it's whatever or it's Google ads, or it's remarketing, or it's LinkedIn, or it's whatever. What's the funnel look like? And so you've decided webinar. So let me show you a couple of simple funnels that all lead to this end step. Okay. So obviously, if we're thinking webinars today, then Facebook ad to webinar registration page makes perfect sense. If your program is $1,000 a month, you could sell it off the webinar, but you're going to do better if you have a strategy session, a sales call, right? Actually, you know what I might do? I might just move this guy up here because we might end up drawing a couple of different funnels. Strategy session. Usually, for your sake and theirs, we will put a triage call before that, like a 9 or 10 minute call designed to qualify people in or out. And so we go here, and then the strategy session is what gets them to buy. So your question is, can I do Facebook ad to webinar? Or do I need to do a lead magnet first? No, you can totally run Facebook ad to webinar. Now, to be really straight with you, Facebook ad to automated webinar is a great way to get leads and to warm people up. It won't convert nearly as well as a live webinar, and it won't convert as well as doing a webinar to people who already know you a little bit and trust you. But lots of our clients do Facebook ad to automated webinar, which is designed to warm people up. Sure, some people will buy, but that's not all it's for, right? It'll warm people up. It'll get people to know you, like you, trust you. Some of them will buy, hopefully to kind of mitigate your traffic costs and give you some profit. Then what do we do? Well, then twice a month we can do a live webinar, which is really where the conversion is going to happen. Okay. So if you do automated, you can kind of do this all day long. If it's a live webinar you're doing, whatever the traffic source, then I want you to think about the thank you page after they register for the webinar as a big opportunity. And on that thank you page, just know that if you do good follow-up, so obviously then that makes this piece here the actual webinar itself. If you do good pre-webinar follow-up, like if you're amazing at it, you'll get half of the people to show up. If you don't, you'll get like 25 or 30%. That means at least half, probably more of the people won't show. Okay, and so what we'll do there is we'll make sure that the thank you page has an upsell video, an upsell video straight into, like skips the webinar straight into the call. Okay, does that help? If we're doing a non-webinar funnel, then it probably looks like this. Add to lead magnet, thank you page to call. Okay? Or if you run live events, then it probably looks like this. Add to lead magnet, thank you page with a deal for the event that's valid for 72 hours. Okay? And the countdown sequence that follows it. Does that help, Adam? What would you charge for a webinar? $0. Big mistake I see lots of people make is they charge based on its value. So two ways you can, if you think about what this webinar's job is, right? You can charge what it's worth to them. Remember, these guys probably don't know you very well. So you might know it's worth thousands of dollars. So you can charge what it's worth, or you can charge based on what it will be worth to you long term. In other words, if you see it as a product, okay, you'll charge a price for it and you'll get a couple of people buy it. And if you see it as part of your funnel, you'll probably make it free because you know that all of the, the way to get more money, more meaning, more freedom is all on the back end. So I would charge $0. Any tips for increasing registrations? A bunch of people are asking about that. Yeah, of course. If you break your webinar campaign up into 4 campaigns, oops, as I said, 4 campaigns, not 6. You've got 4 jobs. We've got to get people to sign up. You're going to register, which we'll talk about in a second. We've got to get people to show up. In other words, actually attend. I'm sure you've registered for webinars and not showed up before. We've got the webinar's job is to get people to pay up, and then afterwards we've got follow-up. And so there's systems, tools, structures for all of those. Usually what we'll do as we're building it, your first job is to actually get a webinar that works. And so usually we'll go, let's work on this, then that, then this, and then that. If we had to run 4 webinars in order, that's what I would be building for each one. Yeah? Okay, so how do we get more people to sign up? Well, frankly, it's about topic and title of your webinar more than anything else. Your traffic source aside, Facebook ad or whatever it is. I did a Google search once for worse. Oops, it's all these people's birthdays. I did a Google search once for new computer. Still got all these notifications. I don't know how to turn them off. Worst book covers ever, book titles ever. Old tractors and the men who love them. Your lost shopping. I think there was one called Lost Shopping Trolleys of the Midwest counties. Like, dude, no matter how good the marketing is, the book sucks, right? So hot topic and title is going to be the big thing. And the best advice I can give you is to go to a bookshop. If you're in an airport, look at the book covers that they sell at airport books, and you'll notice a bit of a pattern. Lots of them follow the 4-hour work week formula. Okay, so they've got a title like 4-hour work week, and then a subhead with three points to it. It'll say escape 9 to 5, live anywhere, join the new rich. So I want you to just take that as a title formula. When I was at the airport bookshop, there was like 6 or 7 books that followed this exact same formula. Okay? So, sexy title, promising big results, small time. Yep. Then 3, like a 3-step sub-bullet, and we've usually got something away from. So this is away from frustration. This is towards a want and an aspiration. If you've seen me talk about the 4 forces, we've got 3 out of 4 right there. Does that make sense? So that's the best thing you can do in terms of increasing the sign-up rate is, aside from traffic source, etc., is hot topic and title. Yes, Dennis, of course it is. How do I increase engagement in a webinar when you're just starting out and you don't have a lot of people turn up for it? What a great question. I want to give you exactly how to do this. To do that, I'm looking for somebody, seeing if they're here. I think he might have had to go. Yeah, okay. The very first webinar I ever ran, I was nervous about the technology. I didn't know how many people would show up. And frankly, I wanted to be able to focus on the content, not about the tech, as you see from this morning. I had some battles with the technology because I was a little bit late getting in here. My fault, not yours. And so I had a wingman. So how do you increase engagement? Think about drive time radio on the way to work or the way back from work. It's almost never just one person. It's usually a couple, especially on FM radio. It's usually 2 or 3 people, so there's banter backwards and forwards. So that's what I would do. I'd get a sidekick, a wingman to show up with you, and they can click the buttons and drive the technology, and you can do this. And every time you pause, like instead of saying, so are there any questions, and having the one person type in a question or not, have the banter backwards and forwards with your sidekick. How do you phrase getting permission for my ums and ahs without looking like an idiot? Dude, just be honest. I'm really good at this stuff. I help people with it all the time. I'm not a professional public speaker. So I'm not going to razzle and dazzle. I'm probably going to say like 150 million times. But here's what I ask. Please overlook the ums. I'm not here to impress you. I'm here to give you great value. Is that cool? So please don't judge my ums. I guarantee I'm going to a lot. I'm going to stutter. I'm going to scroll. I'm going to look at my notes. But that's all because I really want to give you my best. Matt, does that help? John Ball, what if the product is brand new and unproven with clients? This is a question I get so often. It's like, what if I don't have case studies? What if I don't have testimonials? How do I have people trust it? Well, dude, it's a great question. It's really simple. There's a guy called Wyatt Woodsmall, one of the guys who I think invented timeline therapy. It's like an NLP type technique where you kind of time travel back in the past and heal stuff and look in the future and whatever it is, right? Incredible eyebrows, by the way. He has like these big, like John Howard caterpillars. Here's what he said. When you can articulate a person's problem better than they can, you automatically and unconsciously, when you can articulate a person's problem better than they can, they automatically and unconsciously credit you with knowing the solution. So you don't have to be, look what I've done, look what I've done, look what I've done, if it doesn't exist yet. All you've got to do is do a better job of explaining the symptoms, the cause, and the solution. Right? Problem, cause, solution. When you can explain that, they automatically, unconsciously credit you with knowing how to fix it. So focus on that, especially this piece, instead of bragging about how many times you've done that piece. Nikki, I'd love to hear an example of the special deal for the first 5 buyers. Buy before the end of the webinar, next 4 days. Yeah, okay, cool. Super easy. So, okay, so let's say we've got a course that we're selling and it's, actually, you know what? Nikki, let me unmute you and we can make one together. Is that cool? Nikki asked the question and then left. Dude, Nikki, if you're not here, I'm not going to answer the question. I think that's fair. Okay. Does a webinar landing page call to action have to be more intricate than a lead magnet page? No, it's exactly the same. It says the same 3 things that every good landing page has. Okay? It says, here's what I've got. Here's what it'll do for you. And here's how to get it. Here's what I've got. I'm doing this webinar. It's called the 4-hour work week. Escape 9 to 5, live anywhere, join the new rich. Here's what I'll do for you. It's going to show you the 5 ways to this and the #1 mistake that people make that holds them this, exactly how to why. Here's how to get it. Click the button and get yourself registered. It's just a simple landing page. Is 60 minutes the ideal time? Some of my webinars last for 2 hours plus. If I'm doing an automated webinar, say that somebody clicks on a Facebook ad and it's starting every 20 minutes, so it's always, looks like it's starting in 10 minutes time to increase my show up rate, then it's got to be significantly shorter. Like a 20-minute webinar or a 30-minute webinar is much better. What's the best, Zaman, I'm sorry for coughing. What's the best or highest product price sells every time? What's the sweet spot? Dude, from a webinar, we're just going to draw an imaginary line, a rule of thumb. Again, not a rule of law. Usually, if it costs $2,000 or less, oops, you know what? This guy here, he should really be there, the $2,000 line. Okay? So usually, if it's $2,000 or less, we'll sell it straight from the webinar. And if it's more, usually we'll sell it from a consultation. Again, it's a rule of thumb, not a rule of law. I've got plenty of clients who sell 5, 10, up to, I think 18 is the most I've seen straight from webinar. $1,000 programs straight from the webinar. Cool, but that's a rough guide. Do you use mostly email to drive participants? Well, once you've got a list, obviously your email is going to be the best source. But Facebook ad to webinar works all day long. Mark, how do I create how do I create scarcity or urgency to get someone to book a strategy session? Should I remove the offer of a strategy session from my homepage? Yeah. If the very first offer you make me is booking a call, it says that your time's not very valuable and you want to sell me stuff. So I take that off my homepage immediately. How do I offer that on a webinar? Well, there's 2 things. You've talked about urgency and scarcity. Okay? The very best scarcity you can use is scarcity of time. And the beautiful thing about when you're offering so you can do scarcity, limited number, or you can do limited time, right? If you're giving away a free ebook, a PDF on your website, you can't do a limited number because, dude, it's a PDF. Everybody knows it's electrons, right? But you can do limited time. So even in our Facebook ads, if I go ad, where's my ad builder? When we build an ad, this is giving away a PDF. If I can zoom in a bit, you'll notice here, part of the ad says, this week I'm giving away a free copy of the triage call. Why does it say this week? Because it's limited time. Because we're giving away consultations, which is time with you, you've only got so much time available. And so what do? Well, you can do, I've opened up some slots for this week, for this week, and once they're gone, they're gone. So if you get there and they're all booked out, I'm really sorry. In fact, I heard someone talk about infomercials. They changed one sentence on the call to action of an infomercial and they had a dramatic, like a more than 10% impact on their buy rate. And they changed, they used to say, call now, our operators are standing by. If I say our operators are standing by, what does it make you think the operators are doing? Nothing. Yeah, they're sitting there waiting for someone to talk to. Exactly, which makes you sound not popular. It's like inverse or reverse social proof. Our operators are standing by hoping somebody rings. Nobody else is buying this stuff, we're hoping you do. That's what it sounds like. They changed that to call now. If you call and all of our operators are engaged, call back within the next 5 minutes. What does that say? Oh, everyone's on this, I better get on it. Yeah? John says, Taki, is it better to only focus on one offer at a time? Yes, 100%. A confused mind never buys, right? If it's different levels of the same offer, yeah, maybe that's okay. But let's not do 3, dude. Let's make it really simple. I would offer the product, the program, whatever it is, and if there was just like a gold platinum, this would probably be the program plus coaching. Yeah, but it's not like you can have my product around how to do social media, or you can learn my stuff around advanced animal husbandry. Is that even a thing? I think it's a thing. We're not going to offer 2 different things because then they're completely confused. There's some people who say, then it gets them out of like, should I buy should I buy or not? And start thinking about, well, which one should I buy? Confused people don't buy anything, right? So we're going to sell one thing. Usually what we do, if it's like advanced levels of the same thing, John, what we'll do is we'll offer the program, and then on the thank you page, we'll say, great, you've got that. Would you like the advanced version? Yeah, and that's an OTO or a one-time offer. Thanks, Brenda, for being the only person who laughed at my animal husbandry joke. Yeah, what about upsell and downsell options? Perfect. They happen after the sell. They're not at the time of sale. They're on the thank you page. What type of things really work if you're the first 5 people? So let's answer some bonus questions. Okay, so let's just level this down. Okay, so the program is, let's say the program is worth, if you go to my website right now, I'm just going to make up a product that doesn't exist. The program is $3,000. But if you buy in the next 4 days, and I'll explain why 4 days matters in a second, because you think, dude, why would you let people do it later? Follow up, right, for the people who weren't on the webinar is why. But if you buy in the next 4 days, it's going to be $2,000. Okay, well, that's a good deal. So let's call this 4 days. And then we'll get into the Q&A. I'll show you a little trick in a second. But if you buy before if you do it now, before the webinar expires, then let's just call this webinar only. You also get bonus, 1 and 2 and 3. And if you're one of the first, whatever the number is, 5, what could you offer? We'll do anything that gets people to move right now. We want to limit it, but maybe it's a consult with you, for example. Okay? And so now all of a sudden there's a reason to do this. And so we're going to do Q&A like I'm doing right now, obviously, but you'll be doing sales Q&A. And then partway through your Q&A, you're just going to put on a countdown timer. And you're going to leave your buy now slide up, but every now and again you're going to put your timer on, just like this. And when the countdown expires, the bonuses run out. Does that make sense? So we've got 9 minutes and 43 until you get bonus 1, 2, and 3 don't exist anymore. And that's how you create the limited time. Joanne says, technology, microphones, cameras, any tips? Yeah, dude. Any computer is completely fine. I've got the new MacBook Pro, which I love, except the USB ports are a little bit clunky. So I reckon turn your webcam on. I think it's just much more engaging. I've got one of these little puppies, like a Logitech, whatever the hell it's called, 920 CX2500. Yeah, just it's a slightly crisper webcam, right? So that microphone, dude, I'm talking into a pair of borrowed Apple headphones today. It's very professional. Yeah, somebody else's ear juice is in my ears right now. It's creepy, but I did it for you, right? iPad, if you want to draw, don't if you don't. Obviously, Keynote or PowerPoint if you're on a PC. Is that helpful? Okay, let's pause the timeout. What's been most useful for you? We're going to wrap up in about 5 minutes, but I just want to make sure that this is helpful for you. So in the last little bit, we've talked about the funnels to get people to show up. We've talked about what do I charge for my webinar. We've talked about the 4 campaigns a little bit that we need to maximize a webinar. We've talked about what to call our webinar to maximize show up. What to do if you don't have any testimonials or case studies. What to put on the landing page. Here's what I've got. Here's what I'll do for you. Here's how to get it. Price points to sell consultations versus the product. How to add scarcity. And how to do the expiring bonuses. Which one? What's out of all of that? What's been most helpful for you? Make sure I've got some scarcity in my offer. Yep. Do the same techniques still work off stage? Yeah, the call to action is going to be really different. On stage, definitely don't open up the Q&A. 100% don't open up the Q&A. Okay. On a webinar, you can choose which questions you answer and which ones you ignore. So you're in control. On stage, you're totally not. So on a stage, you walk people through the offer, the bonuses and all of the stuff, and then you give people a 3-part call to action. So what I want you to do right now is to close your book, get out of your seat, to close your book, get out of your seat, and register with me at the back right now. So it's what, oh, it's how, what. Yeah, I want you to get out of your seat, come to the back of the room, and join me in the program today. Yeah, how I want you to do it, get out of your seat, come to the back, and what I want you to do. Yeah, it totally helps you, right? Marty, I know you travel a lot. Just literally go to the airport bookshops, look in the business book section, or any kind of business or self-help or health and fitness book. Thin Thighs in 30 Days is a really great example of big promise, little time, and then just look for subheads. You'll see it everywhere now. How to overcome no case studies? Yep, scarcity in my offer. Tons of info. Most grateful for the opportunity to be here. Oh, cool, Angela. Great, glad that you're here. Expiring bonuses. Yeah, man, that sounds like a mistake. Can you do us a favor? Can you send me a Facebook message right now? I'd like to find out exactly what happened and help you out. Man, Ellison, send me a Facebook message personally, and let's have a quick look at that. Clarity around the transition, no more awkward silence. Yeah, perfect. Bonus ladder, webpage. Yeah, beautiful. All right. Why 4 days? I didn't see that. Okay, so we've got a system that we run with clients called the Webinar Profit Pipeline. And actually, I wonder if I've got it here. I may or I may not. That's certainly not it. No worries. Okay. So let me draw out a sample webinar campaign, and I'm going to get about as nerdy as you can possibly get. Okay. So if all of this looks confusing or a little bit like, whoa, that's a lot, let it inspire you about what's possible, but don't for a minute think you have to do all of this stuff. Is that cool? So we're going to send people to a webinar registration page. We're going to do it from email, from Facebook, whatever your main lead sources are. Okay. When they register, we're going to send them to the thank you page, and depending on what the offer is, the thank you page might offer the consultation straight away, or it might not. Right? I don't know if you know about retargeting, those ads which kind of stalk you around Facebook or around the internet. If somebody visits the webinar registration page but doesn't register, then we're going to retarget them with ads up until the webinar saying, hey, come and register, come and register. If they do register and they land on this thank you page, then now we're going to retarget them with countdowns about the webinar. Got it? So that's our, that's a simplified version of our sign-up campaign. Remember, we talked about sign up, show up, pay up, follow up. Okay, so actually really sign up ends there. Because now we've got our pre-webinar sequence. Over here, we've got the webinar itself. So what's going to happen? Well, the day before the webinar, we're going to send an email about a video called the Show Up Maximizer. And the Show Up Maximizer is a short video that you shoot that does a couple of things. It shows them, gives them some value before the webinar, right? It solves a big pressing problem and overcomes an objection. So its job is to like raise their number one objection, kill it before they even come by teaching great stuff and saying, if you love that, you're going to love the webinar itself. There's another video we do, and sometimes it's on the thank you page, often it's a separate page, which is the outflanking video, which basically shows that, I know you've been on lots of webinars about this topic. This is how this one's going to be different. Specifically, it's for people like you. We can talk about this. Here's what we're going to cover. Here's what it's not. Okay? So now we've got two videos, and I'll just do like little red YouTube play buttons to show that they're videos. And their job is to get people to show up live. Obviously, we've got an email sequence which will follow that, counting people down. And as we get closer to the webinar, the emails get a bit more frequent. Yeah? And so there's a little bit of what we do. We'll also send a text message if we're advanced with this, and we'll give people a blank, like a fill in the blanks handout, which is it's called a curiosity handout. It's designed to get people to want the stuff. Okay, that's our. Oops. This bit is our show up campaign. Now, the webinar itself is obviously about pay up, and at the end of the webinar, there's going to be 4 groups of people. There's going to be buyers, there's going to be no-shows, there's going to be non-buyers, and there's going to be people who left early. So let's just build out down here the follow-up campaign. First thing is if they missed the webinar, we're going to invite them to an encore. I don't love replays, like putting the video up online, you can watch it, you can do that. I prefer an encore, which is, we're going to, really popular. Sorry you missed it, a few others did too, so we're going to do it again tomorrow at this time. So it's played either live or as if live, yeah? So let's say the no-shows and the people who left early, come to that, okay? Now what we've got is the 4 days. Remember the 4 days for the bonuses? So what we're going to do now is our follow-up camp, is part of our follow-up work. So for everyone who's watched the webinar, either live or the encore, now we're going to put them into a little campaign, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 days. This is 4 days to go, yeah? And it's going to go like this. Email with a link to a short video is how we do it. And in each one we raise, oops, there's a timer. We raise an objection. Hey, lots of people saying this sounds really, really good, but I'm just getting started. I don't have the big list yet. Show you a quick video to show you what to do, okay? We raise an objection. We teach the objection away. Here's how you cover it. And here's what you do. Then we add a bonus, which specifically fixes the objection, and then we remind people that there's, whatever it is, 3 days to go. And then we do the same thing here. Objection, we teach it away, we add a bonus, and now there's 2 days to go. Objection, we teach it away, we add a third bonus, which overcomes that objection, there's 1 day to go, and this is the, this is your last day. Okay? And that's why 4 days makes sense in our follow-up campaign. Cool? All right. So guys, perfect. Guys, this has been really, really fun. I've loved hanging out with you today. Hopefully the recording comes out well. Thanks for being my crew today. If you're in Black Belt and the implementation program, this will be uploaded live very soon. I'll upload the recording straight away into the implementation program Facebook group, and then the editors will do their magic and get the proper polished version up. If you're one of the people who's coming to the event, the $1 Million Coach Intensive in Melbourne or LA or Vancouver in Canada or San Francisco or London or New York or Chicago later in the year, dude, I can't wait to hang out and help you with that stuff. It's been really, really fun. If there's anything you need from me, anything I can do to help, then I'm going to give you, one question, one opportunity right now to ask me any non-content related questions. If there's anything else I can do to help you with. Angela, see you in Melbourne. It's going to be great. See you in Melbourne, Ross. We're going to have a good time. Jacqueline, you're welcome. Sergey, welcome. Zaman, see you in Vancouver. We're going to have a good time. Blessings for your family. Thanks, Mish. Thanks, Dawn. See you in LA. Taddy, hey, it's you. Stoked. Cassie, you're welcome. Can't wait to see you again soon. Yep, see you in Laguna Beach. Jeff, we're going to have a great time. See you in London, June 6th. Sergey? John, you're welcome. Truly great content. You're welcome. Okay, guys, thank you so much. It's been really fun. Take good care. I'll talk to you soon. Mike, I can't wait. It's been so long, dude. Victor, top 5 people to learn from, apart from Taki, the most successful entrepreneur and coach. Dude, you don't need 5 people. Just find the one that is doing this, that is most like who you want to be, doing the thing that you want to do. I think sometimes, there's really 2 things have to happen for you to find a mentor that's good. Number one, you have to kind of click with their personality and their vibe. And so if you're looking for a mentor to tell you that you have to hustle all the time, I'm totally not that guy, because I don't believe in hustle as a sustainable model. I just don't. So number one, you click with their vibe, and number 2, can they teach you how to get to where you want to go faster? You don't need 5 mentors. Terry, talk soon. Sweet. Melbourne, Kern, we're going to have a good time. Sarah, thank you. Oh, when am I coming to Chicago? Later this year. Keep your eyes out. It's like September or something like that. Ed, Dale, I love you big time too. We're going to see you soon. I'd rather be loved big time by you than long time, if that's okay. Pam. Actually, if anyone wants to learn how to use their voice, well, my good friend, I didn't even know he was on the line, Per Lille, who's the sexiest Swedish man I've ever met in my life, is coming to town. Per, I'm going to unmute you. Can you just give a little plug to your event? I know you're not ready for this. Per, are you there? I've tried to unmute you and given you a chance to plug your thing. And he's dude, I don't know what's going on. Okay, so I've got this friend. His name's Per, P-E-R. He's a Swedish guy, super charming. Men, what is it? Women want him, men want to be him. And he runs these incredible workshops around the world teaching you how to use your voice. Really to kind of unleash who you are. It's extraordinary. It's kind of personal development wrapped in singing lessons. He's extraordinary, and I hear he's coming to Sydney. I think coming to Australia soon anyway. And so check him out. He's a really good dude. Per, I gave you a chance. Yes, new content, of course. See you in Melbourne. Thanks, brother, man. All right, team, it's been really fun. Take good care. I'll talk to you soon. Mish says, keep me in mind if you ever want to target Spanish-speaking people. Claro que sí. See you in LA. All right, team, it's been really fun. Take good care. Talk soon. Ciao.
Okay, so let's talk about this triage call. Remember, it's a 10-minute call that auditions prospects for you. And your job is to assess their audition, work out if you're fit or not. It's a really simple conversation to have. The triage call. Sometimes we call it the A player audition because that's what we're looking for. Are they an A player or not? It's 10 minutes. It's usually done on the phone. It's 9 simple steps. It's super, super easy to do. Cool. So what I need right now, what I'd love is someone that I can demo the first, even just maybe the opening minute with. Okay, so if you're up for a quick role play, just type in me and let's do it. It's Miriam. Perfect. Miriam, can you unmute your line? Miriam, where are you, dude?
Hi.
Hey, I can hear you talking and I'm just trying to find your webcam. Where are you? Scrolling. You're here somewhere. There you are. Found you. Sorry, Miriam.
Hi.
It took me a little while, but there you are. Hey. Okay, so what we're going to do, Miriam, is we're just going to pretend that we're in on a triage call together. Mm-hmm. The opening minute, you'll notice there's not a whole lot of creativity needed at your end, so just play along. Let's just say that you've been on my webinar and you've been watching me for a little while. You've been on the webinar and you booked in for a call to talk about how to grow your coaching business. Is that cool?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So whereabouts do you live?
In London.
In London. Perfect. Okay. So let's say I ring you and your phone rings and you answer it.
Okay.
Ring.
Hello, Miriam speaking.
Hey there, Miriam. It's Taki here from Sydney in Australia. How you going?
Oh, hi. How are you?
I'm really, really well. Hey, Miriam, glad that we could connect. I've got a little note in my diary that we've got a short 10-minute call booked in right now. Is that right?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Perfect. So glad that I got the time right. My job today is really, really simple. I want to ask you a few questions just to work out if or how I can help you. And if it feels like I can't help you, I'll let you know politely and I'll do my best to point you in the right direction. But if it feels like I can help you, then I'll let you know that too. And let's book in another time to talk about how. Is that okay?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so like I said, we've got 10 minutes and I've got somebody booked in straight after you. So we'll need to keep I'll keep the questions simple. If you can keep your answers tight, that'll mean we can get through this together. Just work out if we're a good fit or not. Okay?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get started. Let's just pause right there, time out. What did you notice about that? Miriam, I'll come to you in just a moment. Everybody else, can you just type in, what did you notice about that opening minute with Miriam? Michelle said, time frame set up. Yes, I've got somebody booked in straight after you. So in terms of time framing, my time's important. We're going to be quick. It took charge. Time frame, outcome. I was leading the conversation and Miriam was really happy to follow along. Okay, I pre-framed what to expect. If we're not a fit, I'll let you know politely and I'll point you in the right direction. And if we are a fit, then we'll book in another time to talk about how. So just notice that. At the end of the conversation, let's say we are a match, I don't have to try to sell the next appointment because it's already done. She's already said, hey, if we're a fit, we're going to talk again about how to help. Okay, that makes sense. So Miriam, how did that feel for you? Did it feel natural? Did it feel okay? Did it feel really weird? Did it feel comfortable? Just give us your thoughts.
No, it did feel natural, and it also felt that I had no other option than saying yes.
Correct. There are lots of questions that the answer for was yes. Yeah. Have I got the time right? Yes. I'm really glad we got that. I've got somebody booked in, so is it okay if we keep our answers short? Yes. So it's just simple, right? I think there is some kind of sales theory about getting people to say yes multiple times. I don't do it because of that. I just want the rest of the call to go smoothly. If I can spend a little bit of time in the first minute making it smooth, then everything else tends to flow really nicely. So Miriam, thank you so much for playing today. I'm going to get you to mute your line back up, and I might come and check in on you in a little bit. Is that okay? Gracias. Cool. I got agreement for the process. Yeah. So now she can trust the process. So let's do this together right now. I'm not sure that my drawings are going to be very good here, but I'm going to draw anyway because I feel like we should. The first thing you do is you start strong. Mental note, top left box is to start strong. I draw a lightning bolt or a bad lightning bolt. The first minute is to start strong, and that is to introduce, say what your job is. So my job today is to ask you a few questions to work out if or how I can help. Just notice I said if or how I can help, which presupposes that maybe I can't help. Maybe we're not a fit. I never want to assume the sale. I never want to go, yeah, so we're a great fit and we're going to see how we can work together. No, my job, like the light switch, is to work out, are we on or are we off? Yeah. So my job today is to ask you a few questions just to work out if or how I can help. If I feel like I can't help you, I'll let you know politely and do my best to point you in the right direction. And if Genial Chica, yes. If I feel like I can help, we'll book in another time to talk about how. Is that okay? That's great. So like I said, we've only got 10 minutes and I'm saying, can we get access to the wording? I'm giving you the wording word for word right now. Okay. Would you like the actual script? Happy to provide the actual script. Okay. Yeah, we've only got 10 minutes and I've got somebody booked in straight after you. So if it's okay with you, I'll keep my answers simple. You can keep my questions simple. If you can keep your answers short, that means we can keep the time and really work out if we're a match or not. Does that sound good? Yep. Okay, let's get started. And we're done. So next up, we want to ask the decision question. Why me and why now? Just imagine every box is about a minute. Some of them are much less, but imagine 1 minute per box, we're about right. So what I want to know before we get started is why me and why now? And if they say, well, what do you mean? I said, well, what's going on in your business or your health or your whatever right now that makes this the perfect time to be having this conversation? What's the problem we're here to solve? Which gets them out of, I'm here to collect free information and into, I'm here to fix something. Let's talk about something that actually matters. Yeah? Why now? Great. And why me? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. Next, tell me a little bit about your business. Specifically, who do you help? What kind of problems do you solve? And how does it work? So if you help people with their health, tell me about your health. And I like to have like 3 subcategories, which I find if I ask 1 question, people waffle. And if I give them 3, they keep their answers nice and tight. Who do you help? What kind of problems do you solve? And how does it work? Well, I work with chiropractors and I help them to get more clients. And blah, blah, blah. What's that drawing? It's a factory. Homeboy, a factory. Don't judge my drawing. Disgusted in your lack of respect for my pictures, Joe. Next up, we want to work out the gap. So I'm going to have 1 or 2 or 3 categories. I'm going to say, so what I want to do is I want to work out the what your goals are and where you want to and where you are right now in a couple of categories. So let's just do money first. What's your monthly revenue right now, and what would you like it to be? Well, it's at $10,000 a month, and I'd like it to be 20. Okay. So there's a $20,000 a month gap. Is that right? Sorry, a $10,000 a month gap. Yeah. Okay. So 120 grand a year that we're not getting right now. Okay, that's good. How about impact? Like how many people on your list right now, and how many would you like? Well, I've got 350 people, and I want 12 million. Wow. Okay, that's a big gap. And establish the gap. Next, what's broken or missing right now? That's meant to be a stick that's broken. What's broken or missing? And you just literally ask. So, in your opinion, what do you think is broken or missing right now? And they'll tell you the answers. Okay, cool. Next, what do you need from me? Jigsaw piece. What do you need from me? In other words, what's the job that you're looking at me to fill for you? And I'll tell you. Okay, great. Is this a later thing or a sooner thing? That's a clock. Is this a later thing for you or a sooner thing? In other words, is this a sooner thing? Do you want to do it right now? Please? Is this a later thing for you or a sooner thing? And notice I said later first. I'm always going to assume the not sale instead of assuming the sale. They say, well, what do you mean? Well, on a scale from 1 to 10, how much of a priority is this for you to do something about right now? Oh, it's a 4. Okay, well, you know what? Frankly, if it's a 4, you can't help them right now. So move on. Next, we're going to pinpoint their problem. So what you're going to do is you're going to, out of everything they've said, you're going to take notes and you're going to list out the biggest challenges they've got, the 3 biggest issues and what they need, biggest problems and their impact. So you want to, you're a really great coach helping a handful of people, but you really want to take your message to hundreds or even thousands of people. And frankly, you just don't know how to do it. First problem. Number 2, you've tried some online marketing and it's just not working. Number 3, whatever the third thing is. So problem and its impact, problem and its impact, problem and its impact. Yeah? Amanda says, have you ever closed on a 10-minute call? I extended mine to 20 minutes once and did. Yeah, totally. I actually prefer not to. And I know that sounds really silly. When I do this, I literally do have people back to back to back. And I like to kind of get in my triage mode and then book people in for sales calls the next week. It's totally up to you. Sometimes I'll have, this is really great. How do I get started? I'm like, you don't even know what you're buying yet. So can we at least take 10 minutes and talk about that? If you've got the time, that's totally fine to do. Finally, we're going to show them the door. We're going to show them the door. Remember, you're Simon Cowell on American Idol, and your job is to either give them the ticket to Hollywood or not. If you reject their application, you need to show them the door. It's going to sound like this. Hey, thanks so much for that. This has been really, really interesting for me. I've got a page full of notes right here. And I said right at the start today, my job was to ask you a few questions and just work out if or how I can help. And I said that if I couldn't help you, I'd let you know politely and do my best to point you in the right direction. So based on what you told me, I really don't think I'm the person for you. I'm the guy for you. I'm the gal for you. You really want something like X, Y, and Z, and that's not exactly what we do. So, and then you think of something that might help them. Either, hey, thanks so much, it's been great to chat. If your situation changes, then, reach back out and let me know, and I'd love to help you then. Or, hey, there's this other guy who might be a good match for you. Check out his website at www.buytheotherguystuff.com. Listen, it's been great to chat. Appreciate the time. Good to get to know you, and I wish you every success for the future. Click. If you're going to open the door because they are a good fit, hey, Miriam, let's do this last piece together. Miriam, can you unmute again?
Yeah.
Thank you, man. Yeah, you are. So let's say we've just pinpoint the problem, and in fact, I might just make that up right now. And so let's say we've had a good chat. You do all the talking until this part. So Miriam, I've got a page full of notes here. It sounds like the three biggest problems for you are you really want, and just pretend these are the things, right? Mm-hmm. You want to run more events and webinars, but and kind of sell to groups. But right now your list is really, really small, and it's hindering your efforts because you're saying great things to like 15 people instead of the 1,000 that you deserve. Number mm-hmm. two, you've tried a bunch of this online marketing stuff, and frankly, none of it's really worked the way you want it to. And thirdly, you want to charge a premium for your services, but you're not 100% sure that your target market will even pay that sort of money. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, correct.
Yeah. Okay, so I said, now I'm in this box right here. So I said up front that my job today was to ask you a bunch of questions and really work out if or how I can help you. And mm-hmm. I said, if I couldn't help you, I'd let you know politely and try to point you in the right direction. And I also said that if I felt like I could help you, then what we'd do is we'd book another time to talk about how that might work. So the good news is, these problems you just talked about, I eat problems like that for breakfast. So the next step for us is to book in another time to talk about how. And so if you're a normal, this is out of role play for a second, if you're a normal person, you just kind of open up your calendar program and book them in. I'm actually banned from my calendar, which is really embarrassing, but it's totally true. I booked myself 3 times. So I booked myself to speak at 3 conferences on the same day in 3 different continents earlier this year. And so they won't let me anywhere near the calendar. So I'm going to say, hey, so the next step for us is to book in another time to talk about how. I'm actually banned from the calendar. I've got read-only access. So what I'll do is I'll get Autumn, my assistant, to send you an email with a link to book in for another call, just like this, mm-hmm. except instead of 15 minutes, we're going to talk for an hour.
Okay.
So when we talk next, I've got a page full of notes here, so we can just pick up where we left off. When we do talk next, I really want to talk about 3 things with you. I want to get really clear about your vision, where you'd like to go. Let's get a clear picture together of what the goals could be. The clearer we both are about where you want to go, the easier it's going to be for us to put a plan together to get you there. Is that okay?
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
sounds good.
So once we know where you want to go, then let's have a good solid look at how it is right now. What's working and what's not, what you've tried, what we've got to work with, so we know almost like what the raw ingredients we are, what the ingredients are. And then as soon as we know where we are and where we want to go, then it's just a question of let's see if we can put a plan together to get you there faster. Is that cool?
Yes, it does sound awesome. It sounds awesome. Mm-hmm.
All right. So what's going to happen next is Autumn, my assistant, will send you an email in the next couple of hours. Just keep an eye out for it. When you get it, click the link and book yourself in for a time. It's probably going to be this time, about this time next week. I've got a page full of notes here, so when we speak next, we can just pick up where we left off. And I'm really looking forward to seeing if there's any way we can help you get there faster.
Brilliant.
Thank you. Ciao. Adios.
Thank you.
Etc. Cool. So thanks, Miriam. If you can pause. So that's the end. Does that make sense? Taki was banned from the calendar since the incident. Exactly. So let's just pause and time out and let's debrief the triage call. What did you learn? What did you notice? What would you like to share about this triage call process? What stood out for you? Structure. Systemized. There was no selling of services or specifics, just an invite to talk more. Yes. While I was leading it with questions, they were doing most of the talking. They're doing all of the talking except for the first minute and the last minute. Process flows, it's friendly and it's trusting. I'm doing these, and when I do them right, they know I have the answer, but they can't get it yet. Yes, fast-paced and to the point, doesn't allow them to ramble, yet gets them focused on problem and direction. They sell it to themselves. I love it. There's no tense energy at all. It's just a conversation. Taki, do you still do all of your own triage calls personally, or you've delegated that? A little bit of both. Adam and I share them. He does most of them. And if there's an overflow, too many leads, then I'll jump in and do some. Really good at stretching the gap. I think it'll be tricky to do in 10 minutes. Guarantee you, super easy to do in 10 minutes. I've done it in 4. If I can do it in 4, you can do it in 10. Let me give you a couple of tips. Number 1, book people, have them booked in for 10 minutes with a 5-minute gap before the next person. You get really good at being fast. Number 2, stand up. Your energy's better when you're standing up. Number 3, if somebody starts to waffle, hey, that sounds really, really interesting. Unfortunately, we've only got 10 minutes. So let me ask again, if you can give me a 30-second answer on this. What's broken or missing for you right now? Blah, 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 blah. You don't assume the sale. I assume the opposite. Exactly. Okay, so standing works really, really well. There's a promise of a plan at the end of the next call. Yeah, exactly right. So when I do this, I've got a printed, either a paper printed worksheet, or I mostly do these on my iPad, and I'm just scribbling notes like this. So this is an actual person's one that I just open up at random because it's got the person's last name blacked out. And I just tick it through. So why now? Why me? You know, I'm doing $20,000 to $25,000 a month. It's spasmodic. You know, I'm working a bit hard. Tell me about your business. I coach these kind of guys. It's $1,000. It's a 12-month access. The sales process goes like this. Cool. Okay. So let's talk about how it is right now and how you want it to go. Yeah, I'm doing $20,000 a month. Okay, and what would you like it to be? 40K. It's patchy right now, and I want a steady stream of leads. Doing calls, and I want to convert whatever 10 calls a month or whatever it was. What's missing or broken? Well, it's too reliant on me, and I want to get more front stage. I don't have a plan for doing it. Okay, what do you need? Well, I need a system to generate more leads, system to sell on webinars, and a system to start to sell more. So while he's doing this, I'm circling or highlighting keywords, which when I get down here to the problem check-in piece, the pinpoint their problem piece, I'm just going to talk about the 3 things that I've circled. Yeah? Is this a sooner thing? Is this a later thing for you or a sooner thing? Oh, it's a sooner thing. Okay. So based on what you told me, it sounds like the 3 big problems are your lead flow right now is really patchy and you want a steady flow of leads. You're just not sure how to get there. Right? You're blah, blah, blah. It's too reliant on you and you're spending too much time backstage on stuff you don't love. Not enough time front stage, blah, 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 blah. Is that right? Yeah. And then I do exactly what I said with Miriam. I mark in here that they're a fit. And then I just share it in, this is our backstage process anyway, share it in Slack, our team channel, and I'll go pipeline, and I'll put in the person's name, you know, test, first name, this is just test so that they know it's not real, last name, and I'll type in the words fit or no fit, and they'll know exactly what to do next. And then I'm finished. Cool. So let's just time out again. What do you like about seeing it physically laid out like that? Would you like a copy of the triage page? Yes. Okay, cool. I'll hook you up. Easy to remember the key points? Totally. I'm filling in boxes, dude. The first piece gets people hot for what we've got. And then the funnel filter has people self-qualify in or out, so you don't have to spend quality time with non-quality people. It's going to filter out a bunch of people and give you some data on the people you're about to talk to, make sure they're a good match. Then we have the triage call that we just went through. Then we get to the strategy session. I said at the end of the triage call, I know that they're going to become a client. They have no idea yet. So the triage call really is for me, and the strategy session is for them. Okay, totally. Let's talk about the strategy session itself. You're doing well? Good. Do you do your notes on the tablet or on paper? Dude, it doesn't, like I've drawn them on the brown paper bag at my local cafe in a borrowed pen. I've written in a black pen on the top of a white coffee cup lid, pulled over on the side of the road once. Doesn't, like, just whatever. It's not super professional, but that was my triage call notepad of choice. So let's just pause. I just managed to spill coffee on my shorts. That was genius. I think it's time for a super quick stretch. Can you please stand up? Please stand up. Miriam, Sergey, everybody, Brenda, Michelle, Ron, John, Joe, everybody stand up for a sec. Just going to do a quick stretch. Hands up. Oh, I'm going to go right and say, ooh, that's it. Left and say, ah. Good job. Okay, hands on your butt, lean back. Say, give it to me, baby. This is the good part where I'm really glad nobody's naked because it could get uncomfortable. Touch your knees, touch your toes, or your shins. Pretend to touch your toes. Nobody's looking. I can't do it either. I'm getting close. Actually, I just touched my toes, dude. I just touched my toes. That's awesome. Just stretch around a little bit. All right. Turn to your neighbor and high five 3 people. Oh, there's no one there. Just high five yourself. Give yourself a hug. So I guess let's do this. All right. Yeah, high five your webcam. Let's do this. Let's talk about the triage call. The strategy session. So again, the strat session has a really simple framework. It's 9 boxes. Again, why? Just is. Don't question it. Just go with it. There's really 3 things that we're going to do here. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to, in the first 3 to 5 minutes, we're going to lead the prospect. And we're going to lead them. Most people have no idea how a call like this is going to go, so we need to get them comfortable. We need to show them what's going to happen, and we need to get them to open up and tell you what's really going on. We need to lead. That's our first 3 minutes. In the middle piece, we're going to stretch. We're going to stretch the gap between where they are and where they want to be and everything that's holding them back. Okay, so we'll talk about that in a moment. But our job there is to get them super clear about the gap, not just kind of intellectually, but emotionally as well, the gap between, I really want to go there, but I'm stuck here. I don't know if you notice this, but people only hire a coach when there's tension. You're either, I really want that, and I don't know how to get there fast, or I've got this problem I want to solve. Either way, Sean rolls. You sent your question privately to me. So Sean, if you had a question, please type it in, unless you really were asking Miriam a private question, in which case, hey, I'll stay out of it. What happens in the program stays in the program. That's all I'm saying. So we're going to stretch the gap. We're going to lead. I'm kidding. So we're going to lead the process. We're going to stretch the gap. And then finally, we're going to get hired. Hired is something, you can't hire something. It's something that happens to you. So if you do a good job of the first piece, in the end, they're going to hire you, not the other way around. Do you do your calls on video or phone? I actually prefer it on the phone. I can get focused. I don't need to worry about where I am. Yeah, for me, I prefer phone. I prefer not to see faces while I do these calls. I prefer to just kind of talk and hear. And it's frankly a low-tech solution. It means I can just call somebody. Yeah, it's less about how I look and more about where I am at the time, because I could literally be pulled over on the side of a road, sketching on a coffee cup lid. The lowest tech solution, less can go wrong, right? Okay, so we're going to lead, we're going to stretch, we're going to get hired. Inside each, there's 3 things we're going to do. So let's do this together right now. 9 simple pictures. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to build rapport. Do cats have mouths? They do, but maybe you don't draw. I'm not very good at drawing. Cool. Let's call that a cat. Looks more like a bad snowman. Well, it's just a snow cat. That's exactly what it is. It's a snow cat. Build rapport. Okay. Talk about their cat. He's an uncooperative prospect, not a fit. We cut him right there. So all you're going to do is you're going to talk for 30 seconds or 60 seconds. You know, where are you in the world right now? What time is it? How did you come to be on this call with me today? Right? Now, here's the thing. Let's talk about this step is called rapport. So if you want a word to write, it's rapport. Rapport is defined as a relationship of trust and responsiveness. Trust and responsiveness equals rapport. Now, what most people try to do is they try to earn your trust, and they kind of ask for your responsiveness. I don't do that at all. I assume trust and I demand responsiveness. Most people are silently looking to be led, and your job is to take charge. You're the one who's done these calls before and they've never been on one, so they're just looking to you to, they're happy to trust the process. Cool? So rapport. Next, the agenda. Jill. Hey, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Very, very well. Hey, so are you in London or just outside? Somewhere in the UK somewhere?
I'm actually in Newcastle at the moment, which is up north.
Fantastic. And what was the weather like today?
I think it was about 7 degrees, maybe a bit lower.
Oh, that sounds freezing. I'm really,
Yeah.
I don't want to say this, but I'm really glad I'm here right now. That's what I'm saying. So I know it's late. We've got an hour for this session. Let's just jump in together. Obviously, role play. We don't actually have an hour. We're just going to talk, right, for just a minute. So I've got a loose, framework or an agenda for a conversation like this, just to make sure that you walk out of here with a great plan. There's really 3 things I'd love to do if it's okay with you, Gil. Number 1, I'd like to get really clear and have a conversation about where you'd like to go, how you'd like to take the business, what some of the kind of goals or vision, if you like, would be. I think the clearer that I am and you are about where you want to go, the easier it's going to be for both of us to get you there. Is that cool?
Yep.
So first up, let's talk about where you want to go. Secondly, then let's zoom it right back to now. And I'd like to know kind of what's working, what's not, what you've tried, a little bit about your current situation. The clearer I am about what's actually going on right now, I'll know where the gaps are and how to best help. Is that cool?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then I guess once we know where you are and where you want to go, then it's just a question of what are the obstacles in the way and how do we turn that into a plan to get you there as quickly as possible. So that's kind of the 3 things I'd like to do, if that's okay with you. Is that all right?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. So like I said, it's a loose framework. that I like to use to make sure you walk out here with a great plan. But honestly, this call is about you, not about me. And so if you'd like to talk about something else, or you think that, if you remember something that's really important, or you think we should talk about this thing over here, just take me wherever you want to take us. Super happy to go wherever we need to go. Is that cool?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's just pause. Again, it's been lots of me set something up and ask, and Gil say yes. How did that feel to you? Especially the last piece, maybe the whole piece. Like, how did that feel for you? What did you notice about that, that little minute there?
That I knew what to expect, what you were going to cover, that it was going to be about me.
Yes.
And that if I didn't want to do that, I could do whatever I liked, basically.
Totally. So I gave you control, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, now here's the cool thing. Now that you've got control, you probably aren't ever going to feel the need to take it. Because now you know where we're going and you can trust the process. You know that it's all about you, not about me. So it's going to be a good conversation about you. You've got control. And now that you've been given control, you probably go, no, that plan sounds really good. And you'll give the control straight back to me. And so this whole piece is a little bit, that's kind of our job.
Yeah, because you sound like you know what you're doing. So I'm going to follow you, like you said, because you're going to lead me.
Yeah, exactly. And if ever it feels like it's not a good match, you can just go, hey, actually, I want to talk about this. Totally cool. But most people, we just want to know that we're in safe hands. So, Gil, thank you so much. I'm going to, if you can mute your line. Joe says they feel like they're going to walk away with a great plan because that's our job, right? Okay, so we're going to do the agenda, which is there's three things I want to do. Get clear about where you want to go, the results you're after, the reality you're in right now, and then the roadblocks holding you back. And if you want to talk about this, that, or the other thing, it's totally okay. Good. Everybody else, what did you notice from that little piece with Gil? He laughs, says Amanda. I don't know what that means, but it sounded English. Very non-threatening, says Ron. Yes. What else? Going to walk over the plan? Yep. Set the agenda. Now I know how it's going to go. So the only reason people have their resistance up is if they feel like you're taking them somewhere they don't want to go. I'm getting commitment without asking. Yep. I feel relaxed. Yeah. Perfect. So let's go to the third piece of this lead the prospect piece. Decision questions. Just like we asked in the triage call, the exact same question. Why now and why me? Okay, why now and why me? So yes, you probably just asked this the other day. For me, it was like a week earlier. Is it weird to ask them the same question again? Nope, it's totally fine. So yeah, I know we covered this a little bit the other day, but I'd really love to know why now and why me? And I'm like, what do you mean? Well, so what's going on in the business right now? What's the problem we're here to solve? And then why did you choose to talk about this with me? Ready, set, just kind of, and they'll tell you. You don't need a ready, set, go. We're not in an audience to go. There's a cat. Here's our agenda. So why now and why me? And they'll tell you. If they're light on why now, that's a problem. If they're light on why you, that's no big deal. Okay? It's nice if they say, and I've been watching your videos for years and I practically worship the ground you walk on. That's really flattering, but if they don't say that, it's completely fine. Okay, so that's our opening 2 minutes. Okay, cool. Let's get started. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do these three in order. But I want you to get the big picture of how they fit together. First, okay? So we're going to talk about three things. The results they want, the reality of their current situation, and the roadblock that are in their way. Put another way, okay? Happy, flat, sad. Ron, I always seem to get confused between the triage call and the strategy call. They seem very similar. What's the biggest difference? Dude, enormous difference. Triage call is just a really quick temperature check. Are we a fit or not? Strategy session, they give you money. Okay? The first one is just for you to go, hey, is this person worth talking to or not? It's a filter. It's like a speed date. It's not a date, it's a speed date. Would I like to go on a real date with this person? Yes, no, great. Then the strategy session, they're going to open up, they're going to tell you their whole situation. At the end of which, they're going to say, well, can you help me? And you're going to say, yes. Make sense? Okay, so in the stretch the gap piece, results where they want to go, reality where they are, roadblocks, what's holding them back, just like we promised we would in the agenda, and just like we promised we would in the triage call. Here's what I find, triage weeds them out. Here's what I find incredibly helpful to have. For each of these three, what I like to have is what I call conversion categories. This is something we go, we build with you inside Black Belt, but for now, just know that you have some core categories, some core areas that you'll help people out in. Okay, so for example, what are the key areas that you help people improve in? So I help people with monthly revenue. I help people with sales process. I help them with marketing. I help them with delivery. I want to know about maybe the hours they're working, the team they've got. So these are my conversion categories. You obviously need a list of what are the areas that you help people improve in. And so when you do this, when you get into this stretch the gap piece up front, you can say, okay, let's talk about how you want things to be different in a year's time or whatever time frame you help people with. If you help people over a 3-year period, you're going to say 3 years. If you help people over 6 months, 6 months. If it's an 8-week program, let's talk about where do you want to be in 8 weeks? Then you can say, so how do you want your revenue or your income to be different in 12 months time? Well, I want it to be like, $100,000 a month. Cool. Great. What else, you're just going to say, how else do you want things to be different? They're going to tell you everything, and then you come back to your categories. How do you want your sales and sales process to be different? Well, I'd like to be closing like 80% or more and have, another salesperson, outsource sales. Perfect. Dig into that a little bit. When you run out of stuff to ask about with the sales, then go to marketing. How do you want your marketing to be different in 12 months time? These just give you categories you can fall back on, like a get out of jail free card, yeah? How do you want your marketing to be different? Well, I just want it to be more automated and I want to have a podcast and a blah, blah, blah. Okay, fantastic. That's really good. How do you want your delivery to be different? The products and programs and price points. Blah, blah, blah. Does that make sense? Do you get the idea of conversion categories? We just want to have some categories that we can build a gap around there, over the, 6-week, 12-month, whatever it is period. Yeah, brilliant, says Victoria. Amazing, perfect. So we have conversion categories, and you're just going to ask them about, first of all, how you want things to be in 12 months' time, and you're going to run through your categories, right? So you're going to spend some time in here just on walk through your categories. How do you want this to be different? How do you want that to be different? How do you want this to be? And just take notes the whole way through. Yeah. Then you're going to say, is there anything else? Is there anything else you think I should know about how you want it to be different? No, that's it. Okay, cool. And you mentioned you want so we're going to go wide. The categories help you go wide. What else? Marketing, sales, delivery, blah, blah, blah. Cool. Then you're going to zoom into the ones which you can help with that they're emotionally charged up about. You mentioned this. You mentioned you want to grow your revenue from $40K a month to, $70,000 or $80,000 a month. Tell me a bit more about that. How long have you been stuck at 40? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, what do you think's stopping you from getting up there? This. Okay, cool. If you could get to $80,000 a month, what kind of an impact would that make? Cool. So we're just going to go wide with our categories, and then we're going to go deeper into each one. You with me so far, guys? Yeah? And we're going to feed it back. Hey, this is what I heard you say. You want this and this and this and this and this. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Okay. Cool. Is there anything else you think I should know about what you want? No, that's right. Okay, sweet. So I feel like I've got a pretty good handle on where you want to go. Let's switch gears and talk about how it is right now. And you're going to go to the reality section, which is what's happening today. This is where I want you to get really comfortable having uncomfortable conversations. We're not creating pain here. We're just making sure that people actually look at the real situations, warts and all. Okay? So we're going to go, okay, so let's talk about how it is for right now. And you're going to go to your categories again. So this might actually be a good way to think about this. So first time through, you're going to do, I'm going to draw it at the bottom because I don't have a lot of space at the top. You're going to go your results. Where do you want to go? And you're going to go through your categories. Blah, 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 blah. Cool. And then how is it right now? You know, the energy will shift. It'll be less dreamy and excited and inspired, and into a little bit like less juicy. Well, if I'm at 80K a month, where are you right now? I'm at 40. Okay, how long have you been stuck there? Tell me about your sales process. What's going on right now? What are your biggest frustrations right now with the sales process? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, I'm going to go wide again across our categories. Then you're going to go deeper into the ones which sound the most juicy, the ones you can help with that they're emotionally charged about, and find out more. Once you've got a good handle on that, you can say, okay, so it sounds like what's going on is this, and this, and this. Is that right? Yeah. Is there anything else you think I should know about how it is right now? No. I think you pretty much got it. Okay, good. Okay, let's switch gears. I know where you want to go. I know where you are right now. Let's talk about what's holding you back. And again, go through your conversion categories and have them tell you what's holding them back here and here and here and here and here. And here. With me? So this is how you go wide, deep, feed it back, and ask if there's anything else. Conversion categories are a really good get out of jail free card to make sure you cover all of the possible areas that you can help people with. Obviously, if they're super hot and they keep talking about, you know, their revenue and their sales and their team, but they've got nothing here, don't spend much time there. Go to the stuff that they care about, you know, not everything you know. Is this helpful? So that's the stretch the gap piece. Let's pause. And what I want to know right now is what's been most useful about the stretch the gap piece for you. And I want to know, first of all, what's been most valuable? And then second, we'll do questions. Specifically, what's been most helpful for you? Great framework. I love the categories. Having conversion categories will help drive the conversation. Totally does. Yep. Seems more digging deep compared to the method or script I was previously taught. Totally, it's about digging deep. Yeah, there's no script. It's just curiosity. It's how you navigate. Structure. Yes. You can find their hot buttons, of course. So when it comes to the end of the thing, where you get to tell them about your thing, what are you going to talk about? You're going to talk about the stuff that they actually care about. So if their goal was, this, and their, situation was that, then when it comes to, talking about your program, you can couch it in relation to the stuff that they actually care about, and you can skip over the stuff that is less relevant. Do I do the strategy session on the phone? Skype brother. Yeah, I usually do it on the phone. Conversion category gets them talking about more than money. The money drivers. Dude, it's about whatever your categories are. For some of us on the line right now, money is not even one of their categories. Yeah, so you want to listen out for two things. Stuff that they're emotionally charged about that you can help with. Like if they're busy complaining about the government and you frankly can't change the government, don't talk about the government, just focus on the stuff that you can actually help with. Does that make sense? Yeah, whatever the drivers are, exactly. Okay, editor. Next cut, please. By the way, editor, you're doing an epic job and I'm really grateful for your help. Let's talk about the last piece. Again, there's three things we're going to do here. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to check for value. Check in for value. What's been most valuable for you so far is what we're going to ask. Yeah? And so we're going to summarize everything you've heard. So you're just going to do a 1 minute overview of this whole piece. Okay, so let me just recap. Here's what I've heard so far. You really want to get your business to X and do Y. You will grow the team by this so you can blah, 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 blah. So that's where you want to go. Right now, this is what's going on. And, the top three frustrations of this, what's holding you back is X, Y, and Z. Is that right? Yeah. Have I missed anything? No, you got it. Okay, cool. So before we go any further, what I'd love to know is what's been most valuable for you so far? That's the question you asked them. What's been most valuable for you so far? And you might be thinking, well, that's kind of weird because you haven't actually done anything yet. You haven't fixed anything yet. And that's true. You haven't fixed anything yet. But what you have done is given them some space. Actually, for the first time ever, pour out their whole situation like a Polaroid of their dreams, their frustrations, and where they're at right now. And lay it all out on one piece of paper. Probably for the first time ever, they've kind of expressed their whole situation to somebody. They're incredibly open. And now they can step back and look at their whole situation and decide, what am I going to do about this? That's incredibly valuable. So usually when I say what's been most valuable, most people will say it's just good to get, it's good to get it all out. Still, exactly. You haven't given them any content so far. Nothing. You haven't fixed anything. You've just asked questions and you've got a complete picture out in front of you. You're exactly right. So don't expect them to say, that was orgasmic, because it wasn't, right? But it's useful that it's been, probably not, like unless they're twisted, in which case maybe they're not the right client for us. But they're probably just going to say, it's been really good, just going to get clear about where I want to go. Okay, cool. They feel heard. Exactly. So then these next two pieces happen side by side, like two pedals on a bicycle. We're going to do box number 8 and box number 9, 8, 9, 8, 9, 8, 9, around in circles, like two wheels on a bike, two pedals on a bike for a bit. Okay, so just know that these two are going to happen in turn a lot. So the two next steps go hand in hand, and they are the 3-question loop and the 6 magic pills. Okay, so the 3-question loop. The 3-question loop is how we slow down and we have them. No, I want more. I want more. I want more. Instead of assuming the sale, we assume the not sale. We do the takeaway, the price thing, and they pull us towards the offer. That's what the 3-question loop's about. That's what it's for. And then finally, the 6 magic pills are how we finally get to talk about your program, your offer, in a way that doesn't overwhelm people and gets people to want your stuff. Okay, 6 magic pills. So let's talk about these. Yeah, questions is reflection. It's pure coaching. Exactly, Sergey. 3-question loop. Is this making sense so far? Yep. That's the first question about 3-question loop. Okay? So you literally, at the end of this space, you're going to pause and say, is this making sense so far? Gotcha. You're going to say, is this making sense so far? And they'll say, yeah. So first question, is this making sense so far? Okay? They'll say yes. Second question, optional. I do it. I like to go really slow. It's optional. I say, I just want to make sure that you're 100% comfortable with everything so far. So are you comfortable with everything so far? And I say, yeah. So first question, is this making sense? Secondly, are you 100% comfortable with everything so far? Or are you comfortable with everything so far? Now, notice how there's a lack of forward motion. Ron or somebody asked me a little bit earlier after chat, tell me about the deflated balloon metaphor. He's obviously heard me talk about that before. So let's do a quick on that because it really relates to this. I said earlier that you don't want to be too friendly or too enthusiastic on the phone. The only people who are on the phone friendly and enthusiastic is your friends and family or salespeople. And I don't want you to be perceived as a salesperson. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all of the energy out of our voice. Imagine you've got a balloon, let it empty out. Then you pick up that kind of flaccid, floppy piece of balloon. That's the kind of energy you want. No forward motion, no energy, no pressure, just that. Make sense? Third question, where do you think we should go from here? When you say it with the kind of tone of voice that I've got right now, so, where do you think we should go from here with that empty balloon tone? They're going to pull you to the next step. What they almost always say is, okay, so now you know all about me. What do you think I should do? Which lets you perfectly deliver the first of your 6 magic pills. So I'm going to give you the 6 magic pills right now, the overview at least. Inside Black Belt, we unpack these and we build them out step by step by step so you've got an offer that's absolutely rock solid and killer. But for now, this will be plenty good enough for you to be able to sell your stuff. So let's talk about these pills in turn right now. The first 2 pills answer the question, why should I hire you? Why do I need you? Next, they need to know, if I do work with you, what do we work on? What's it like? And then finally, how does it work? Okay, so we're going to go why, what, how. Practically speaking, pills 1 and 2 are the why pills. Pills 3 and 4 are about what, and pills 5 and 6 are about how. So just give me like a physical thumbs up if you're following this so far, just so I know that this is making sense. Give me a thumbs up. Yeah. Okay. Good. Good. Don't overdose. Exactly right, Sergey. It's all about the right dose. If we overdose, they'll go comatose. Exactly what we don't want. Okay. So we get to this point and we say, is this making sense so far? Yes. Are you comfortable with everything so far? Where do you think we should go from here? And they'll say something like, okay, so now you know all about me. What do you think I should do? Magic pill number 1 comes in. So magic pill number 1 is problems. And what I want you to do is just to, in 1 minute, clearly articulate their top 3 problems and the impact that they're having, just like we did on the triage call. So just write problems, in brackets, impact. Okay, so based on what you told me, it sounds like the top 3 problems to solve are, you don't have enough leads and it's making it really hard to hit your sales targets. Number two, you've got some good people on the team, but you've got a few people who frankly are underperforming and have been for years. And number three, you've been working hard at this long hours without a break in 5 or 6 years. You're exhausted. You want it to grow, but you don't want it to kill you. Does that make sense? Yep. Is that making sense? Is everything, are you comfortable with everything so far? Uh-huh. So where do you think we should go from here? Okay. So what do you think I should do about it? They'll say. Time for magic pill number 2, prescriptions. Prescriptions. This is where you tell them what they need instead. Not how to do it, but what they need, okay? So if I think we said one of their problems was leads, they had a team problem and working too hard. Okay, so let's just, for every problem, as in two sides of the same coin, we've got problems, prescriptions. So if the problem was, actually, I might draw this on a new page, give you a bit more room. So the problem is going to be something like problem impact. You need that. So let's do these together. So if the problem was you don't have enough leads and sales guys are hungry, and then we said the second one was underperforming team, and that was costing you, I can't remember what we said, not hitting targets, numbers. And the third one we said was working really hard, want to grow, not kill you. Okay, so that's what we said in the previous step. So when we say, so what do you think, where do you think we should go from here? And they say, what do you think I should do? We just need to match a prescription for each problem. So if the first problem was not enough leads and the sales guys are hungry, what you need is a lead generation system that fills your pipeline with 8s, 9s, and 10s every single week so that sales guys hit their numbers like clockwork. Next, the team was underperforming and they weren't hitting their numbers. What we need is an A player, whatever your solution is for that. I don't know what it is. Yeah, an A player performance system to weed out the duds, recruit more stars, lift everyone's performance. Okay, you're working too hard. You want to grow the business, but you don't. But not if it kills you. What you need is to systemize and leverage so that the business grows, but your hours reduce. So you can actually take holidays and watch your revenue increase. Does that make sense? Yeah, you need a feature that benefit. Exactly. You need a feature that benefit. Exactly right. Does that make sense? Yep. Are you comfortable with everything so far? Uh-huh. So where do you think we should go from here? The next question they will always ask is, so can you help me with that? By the way, if they ever say they don't, like you say, where do you think we should go from here? They say, I don't know. What do you think? Okay. Just go to the next cell. Just say, okay, so we talked about the problems and what you need to do about it. Let's talk about goals or outcomes next. Let's just pause, by the way, team. I just wanted to check in. Most valuable nuggets from the last 5 minutes. Talk to me. Most valuable content from the last 5 minutes. You're giving them what they want, but still not giving the content. Totally not. You're saying you need a this that does that. Oh, I totally need a this that does that. 3 questions is brilliant. Not rushing to talk about my program. Yep, problem and impact is cool. Keep asking questions, said Jackie. Yep, make them chase you. Right, we're not pushing anyone. The whole thing is, I want more, right? Exactly. It's all about them. Yes. Looping between the questions and the pills. Exactly, the whole way through. So outcome. The way I language outcome is this. By the way, I think every program that you sell needs a really clear description of the outcome. Like Black Belt, for example, I take 6-figure coaches and I help them get to $1 million a year. That's what it does. boardroom. I help $1 million coaches scale even bigger. That's the outcome, right? So I want you to think about what's the result that your thing gives. So the way I'd language it is, we say, where do you think we should go from here? And they said, well, how could you help me? I said, well, if we're going to think about working together, takeaway, it's really important that we're aligned in terms of our outcomes. So I've got a really specific result that I help my clients get. I help coaches who are doing, $10,000 a month or more to get to $1 million a year. So before we go any further, I just wanted to check in. Is that okay with you? Yeah. You're speaking into the listening of their problem. Exactly what you're doing. So what's the outcome of your thing? And it's usually, I help people like this with this problem to get that outcome. Person, problem, promise. Okay? By the way, if you can't guarantee their result, because frankly, they're going to be doing the work, you say, well, I'm working with a group of X coaches in my case, and we're in a program called Black Belt, and it's designed to help you get to 7 figures a year, $84,000 a month or more. So it's designed to is what it's designed to, right? And you're giving prescriptions, not solutions. Exactly right. Exactly right. That's exactly right, Joe. Okay, outcome. And you're going to check it. Does that make sense? Yes. Are you comfortable with everything so far? Mm-hmm. Where do you think we should go from here? Well, how does it work? Okay. Next up, model. Ideally, we want a simple drawing that they can draw over the phone. You just kind of tell them like it's a circle or a triangle or a square. Simple drawing that they can draw that will explain big picture what your stuff is about. So I'm going to ask you a question right now. In fact, I might give you this one for homework. We want a simple drawing that says, here's the things we're going to work on. And we want 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 max steps. Okay? Joe, I know you've got 6 in your process. And what you've done is you've kind of chunked it into 3, which is lovely. So in Blackbelt, we've got really 4 core things we do. So I get people to draw a triangle. So grab a pen. In fact, do this with me right now. Once you grab a pen, I want you to draw a triangle. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second, right? I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second. I'm going to do it just like we would on the phone. Okay, what I'd like you to do, please, is and then we'll compare notes if we've all drawn the same thing. I want you to draw a triangle with a flat bottom and a pointy top. Can you do that? Nice and big. Triangle, flat bottom, pointy top. Great. You got that? Next. On the left-hand diagonal, I want you to write the word attract. Cool. On the right-hand diagonal, the other side, I want you to write down the word convert. At the bottom, just underneath the bottom, I want you to write down the word deliver. And right in the middle, in the center of the triangle, I want you to write the word scale. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share my screen again. I just want you to see if we're drawn the same picture. We're drawing the same thing, right? Yeah? So that's what we do. We have a simple shape which explains the 3 or 4 or 5 things that we're going to do. And then what I do is I just explain what each one means, and I have them tell me what part of that they need. So I'm going to say, okay, so there's really 4 things we're going to do together. Firstly, we're going to attract. And instead of doing one-on-one lead generation, we're going to automate the marketing so that da, 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 da. So what I want to know from you is, think about us working together. What parts of attract do you want most? I really want blah, blah, and blah, 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 blah. So even while I'm unpacking the offer, they're telling me what part of that they want. When it comes to convert, we're talking about selling with webinars and one-on-one and from events. Da, 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 da. Okay, so what part of that do you need most? I really want this and this and this. Okay, great. So the whole thing is co-created. You feel that? And then deliver is about this and this and this. So what part of that would be most useful for you? I really want that and this. Okay, cool. And we want to do the whole thing in a way that can scale. So instead of like being capped and only working with 10 people, we can help thousands or tens of thousands or even more. What part of that would be most useful? Well, this and this. Okay, cool. So that's what we work on. We work on attract, convert, and deliver so we can scale. Does that make sense? Yeah. Are you comfortable with everything so far? Mm-hmm. Where do you think we should go from here? Well, this sounds really good. How does it work? You with me, guys? No wonder you need 45 minutes. Totally. Now I'm going overboard here. You don't have to do all of these pieces to this level of depth, but I'm giving you full spectrum here. Could you have sold them in 20? Yeah, you totally could have sold them in 20. But I want to make sure that they know exactly what it is that they're getting. So next up, logistics. How does it work? What's included? etc. For me, pretty much every potential client I've ever talked to has needed three things. They need a plan, they need the tools to implement the plan, and along the way they're going to need some help. And so I'm just going to talk about that idea and then list out what we do under each category. Yeah? Let's start the logistics. And at the end, does that make sense? Yeah? Are you comfortable with things so far? Where do you think we should go from here? And I'll say, well, the only thing we haven't talked about right now is price, right? Price and timing. So they say, well, how does it work? Okay, so the only things we haven't talked about so far is timing and price. So let's do that right now. Timing. And I don't know what you're selling, dude. And how I do it is I'll say there's really 3 time zones I want you to think about. I want you to think about your first year, your first quarter, and your first month. Okay? I've never drawn this once. So I'm drawing this for you, not for them. Yeah? Okay, so we've just talked about your 12-month goals. I want to make sure you hit them. We've got some big goals. We want the business to be fantastic, and we're going to get incredible quick wins. And to make serious change over 12 months, Gil says, if they say sign me up at an early stage, you skip some of the pills. Totally can. Yeah, you totally can. But I would never skip a pill, but I'd skim through the pills. That makes sense. I wouldn't go deep. Okay. So first year, I want to make sure that people know upfront that we're going to make a 12-month commitment. Okay. So we're going to go into this with we're going to work together for at least a year. At the end of the first year, if you're loving it, let's just keep going. But you're not going to hit your 12-month goals with 2 weeks worth of work. Does that make sense? Yeah, I think that's fair. Next up, we've got first quarter, return of investment and return on investment. Our internal performance standard is that you make back every cent you'll spend on us for a whole year, that you've got that money back and more in the first 90 days. So one of the questions we sometimes get, well, this sounds really good. How quickly do I get my money back? Yeah, this is because it's a 12-month program, whatever your thing is, right? And so if you're selling something longer, this is useful. And if not, just say it's an 8-week course, right? Yeah, so whatever you'd spend over the course of 12 months with us, that you've made that back and more in your first 90 days. Sometimes we do it so far. I think the record is a day and a half. Some people it takes, on average, it's about 90 days. Some people much quicker, some people a little bit longer, and that's okay too. It just depends on your speed of implementation. Is that cool? And then thirdly, love it first month. We've got a 30-day love it or leave it guarantee. Right now, this all sounds great. I like you and you like me, and it feels like we do great work together, but we haven't worked together yet. So let's just put a little bit of let's get rid of some of the risk for both of us. At the end of the first 30 days, you're going to know if I'm the right guy for you or not, and I'm frankly going to know if you're the right client for me or not. And if either of us isn't feeling it in 30 days time, let's call it what it is. Let's stop. Let's refund and walk away as friends. Is that fair? That way you're protected. You're happy to make a 12-month commitment because you know that in the first month you're going to know if it's right for you or not, and if it's not, we'll stop. And I'm committed. I'm protected because I know that if it doesn't work out and you're not a great client for me, that I can call it and walk away. And part of the reason we win so much is because we only have incredible, amazing, hardworking, high-performance people in the program. Does that make sense? I'm like, yeah. Finally, so that's the logistics. Oh, that's kind of logistics, and we're into price right now. So price. Like at the end of 30 days, if we're not a match, I'm just going to give them everything back and walk away. That's how I do it. You can do it any way you like. Price, you're just going to have, 3 things. You're going to have a way for them to pay upfront. You're going to have a way for them to pay installments. And maybe you've got a deal on the day. At an event, there's usually a deal on the day. And on a strategy session, it's just, here's how it is. Cool. So upfront, maybe your program is 20K. If they pay it off in installments, it's, whatever it is. Let's say it's 10 payments of 2.5. And the deal on the day is whatever it is, bonus or discount. At the end of that, you say, does this make sense so far? Are you comfortable with everything so far? Yeah. Where do you think we should go from here? 9 times out of 10, you're going to get, okay, well, how do I get started? And if you don't, you get a question instead. Answer the question and do the loop. Where do you think we should go from here? And they'll tell you. Does that make sense? A couple of questions about guarantee here. The way I like to do it is I just want to guarantee the start. For me, we just do that. I've got a bunch of clients do 90-day guarantees. Bonus or discount, I'm supposed to say. Miriam, sorry. So me, I just guarantee the first 30 days because at the end of the first month, we're going to know if we're on track or not. And if we are, let's do it. If we're not, let's stop. That's cool. Whew. So let's pause. Big session. We've done some great stuff today. We've talked about the perfect prospect pipeline, the webinar, the funnel filter, the triage call, the strat session, value models, the triage call laid out in detail, a sample triage call. We talked about the strategy session, how to do it. We've walked through the 6 magic pills. We've walked through conversion categories. I just want to know top 3 takeaways from today for you. Top 3 takeaways from today for you. This has been a big session. Definitely need to watch it again. Yeah, I reckon that's probably a great idea. Conversion categories. John says my head hurts. Dude, I'm really sorry, bro. If all you do is just do that and you skip the rest, you'll be fine. I figure we're only doing this once together, right? So I can give you everything. You can rewatch as many times as you like. Oh, in a good way. Okay, that's great. I'm the prize, conversion categories, magic pill, 3-question loop. I am the prize, value model, conversion categories. Ask questions, ask for details, let them ask for the sale because you're the prize. Strategy session, 9 boxes, 3-question close in the pills. I've got a strategy session on Thursday, so I'm going to use this skill. I want a message in the Facebook group the moment you sign up with a new client. Go, girl. Less likely to be hit and miss when having sales calls. Dude, it's going to be hit and hit and hit. Fantastic. All right, guys. So let's make a plan. If there were 3 action steps you could take this week to move yourself forward, what would they be? 3 action steps for you to move yourself forward. If I was to invent one for you, I think one of the things you could do is just work out what are your conversion categories, the steps, the kind of areas you could ask people about. That would be the key one. The value model, don't worry about too much about that. If you don't have a value model, it's completely fine. So for me, I would go 3 steps. If I was to be prescriptive, these would be my 3 pieces of homework for you. I'd say conversion categories, so you know how to guide the conversation. Number 2, I would say work through the 6 magic pills, especially these 2, outcome and model, logistics and price, because they're the same for everybody. The first 2, they change, they're fluid, but I'd get clear about those. Thirdly, I think the 3rd one, most important, is to do some triage work. I'll give you the worksheet. We'll upload it today. Even if it's not a formal sales call, just like even if you're coffeeing with somebody, or you've got a potential client, just do the triage call. Have some fun with it. Yeah? I think magic's going to happen. Okay, so let's do this. There's been a big session. We've gone 2 hours, 15 minutes. Holy crap, I apologize. Hanno says, how do I decide between the sexiest outcomes? Which is best? Hanno, can you unmute your line? Let's answer it. Let's do 5 minutes, guys. I'm happy to do open Q&A for 5, and then I'll let you get on your way, do your thing. Okay?
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. So talk to me about the sexiest outcomes.
Well, I help engineering companies move away from delivering some of their tools and services to delivering better customer value. I have a look at their strategy, portfolio, then your 3 things. This means marketing, sales, and delivery. I don't look at scaling. The different buyers may have different pain points or outcomes, and you were so succinct in your expressions of both black belt and boardroom, 6 to 7 and 7 to scale. So how could I?
Totally. So does it have to be as specific as that? It doesn't have to be. The more specific, the better. So let's do this. If you think about all of the different clients that you work with, they've all got something in common in terms of where they want to go. Yeah?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Can you help give me kind of 3, if there were 3 things which fit in here, what would the 3 things be that they all want?
They would like to grow, both in revenue, profit, and in new development opportunities. They're sort of stuck under a ceiling. They'd like to move to the next level.
Perfect. I love that. Okay, great. So they're the main things: grow revenue, grow profit, and grow I'm not sure if opportunity is exactly the word you said.
They would like to grow to another level. They don't know much about marketing or value-based billing or moving to a higher level of value delivery, these types of issues.
Yep, perfect. So I would just say, so the program, if we're going to work together, I'm just going to pretend to be you, Anna.
Yeah.
So Anna, if we're even going to think about working together, it's really important that we're aligned on goals. And so there are 5 specific results that I work with my clients to get. And I just want to go through them together with you just for 30 seconds and find out if we're aligned. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, so there are 5 categories, and our goal is to increase your business across all 5. Number 1, we want to increase monthly, quarterly, and annual revenue. Number 2, we want to drive profit margins up, so not only higher top line, but higher bottom line. Thirdly, we want to increase the reach and effectiveness of your marketing. 5th, help you sell by value, not by price. Help you kind of switch to a value-based model. And 5, increase price. So before we go any further, I just wanted to check in. Is that okay with you? Yes, that sounds great. Okay.
Yep.
So that's fine. It's not quite as tight, but it's completely okay. What you'll probably find is there'll be a little bit of an overlap between your pill 3 outcome and your pill 4 model, because potentially your value, marketing, profit might be part of your model. When we work together, there's really 3 things we're going to do. We're going to increase your value, so that you're selling on value, not price. We're going to increase revenue, and we're going to increase revenue with marketing, and we're going to increase profit with delivery or whatever it is. Maybe it's that. I think earlier you said attract, convert, and deliver, and 2 other things. So maybe it's a 4-box grid or something like that. But the only thing you need to work out is there's probably going to be a little bit of an overlap between the model and the outcome, but that's completely okay. When I work with my clients, there's really 5 shifts we want to make. We want to shift from good revenue to great revenue. We want to shift from fixed profit to expansive profit. We want to shift from passive marketing to proactive marketing, from price to value. I think that's completely fine. Does that help, Anna?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much. It's not as succinct yet as it is from 6 to 7 or 7 to scale, but
it doesn't need to be. It's completely okay. I just happen to have like a really specific outcome. That's completely fine.
So if I don't reach that within my first month, I shouldn't stall, but I should keep moving on.
Even if you never reached it ever, all we want is just to be able to say, when you work with me, stuff gets better in these 5 areas, and you'll be completely fine. Okay, please don't freak out about that.
Thanks.
Absolute pleasure. Anna, can you mute your line back on? Okay, so again, great tip. Thank you. So if you're offering a lower priced, short time frame program, do you not do this process? Oh, well, yeah, if it's less than $2,000, you can just sell it straight off the webinar, right? You will still, as you unpack your offer, you'll still go through the 6 magic pills. I built it to help these kind of people with this kind of problem. It's designed to help you do this and this and this. It's built to help you get this specific result, right? This is how the program works. Week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and what they're about. Here's how it works. We have a weekly call, the recording. There's a Facebook group. It costs this, or there's an installment plan. And today, here's the deal. It's the same process. Every offer we ever make follows the 6 magic pills. So it's something you want to get good at. Cool. Of course. If I don't have a webinar ready, but I have a prospect, this is Victoria, in the warm or yellow category, is there a simple way to follow up without having something to invite them to? Yeah. Send them an email and say, hey, would you like me to help you with your, whatever your thing is? So I might say, hey, would you like me to help you with your sales process? would you like to work with me on your sales process? You could send that today. Jonathan, yes. I think it's already been posted in the Facebook group. If you just search for triage or template, I'm pretty sure it's there. If it's not, tag me again, but I'm 99% sure it's there. Guys, this has been really fun. I'd love this. If you have any further questions, post them in the group. That's what we're here for. Otherwise, I think you've done great work and you deserve some love. Good job. I'll talk to you soon. Remember, this is your job. Conversion categories, 6 magic pills, do some triages. Okay? Next week, we're going to talk about how to sell from live events. And we're going to go deep onto how to plan out an event that sells. But right now, this is the shortest path to money. Talk to people, get the cash. Cool? Guys, it's been really fun. I've loved hanging with you today. Let's wrap up for today, and we'll see you again soon. So I'm going to give you 5 keys right now. If you've got your handouts, scribble on those. If you don't, take notes. It's completely okay. Here we go. 5 keys. Number 1, pre-sell. I don't know whether you love sales or you feel awkward about it. The fact remains that whether you're in love with selling or you're a little bit awkward about it, every coach has got to sell, right? If you want to grow your coaching business, you need to be able to talk to people and have them give you money. The decision you want to make though is, do I want to have to hard sell at the end, or do I want to pre-sell at the beginning? If you ever find yourself having to push or feel like you're being a bit salesy, that usually is a symptom that if you're hard selling at the end, it's because you didn't pre-sell at the start. The samurai in ancient Japan had a philosophy, the philosophy of battle. I can't remember. There's a book called it's about the samurai philosophy, and it's called I think it's called Sakugare, but that could be a Japanese beer. I'm not 100% sure. It starts with S. And ancient Japanese samurai philosophy could be summarized in 2 words: win beforehand. In other words, win first, fight if you have to. And so just like Sergey said, I close really well because they all come to me really, really hot. That's what we want. We want our marketing to pre-sell and our funnel to pre-sell so that by the time they get to you, it's really a slam dunk. Does that make sense? So you can hard sell or you can pre-sell. Let's get into the pre-sell business and make the sales conversation just really natural. Are you okay with that? Yep. Number 2, I want you to get into the mindset that we're here to take it away. Frankly, in every sales process, there's really 2 core people. There's the prize and the person who wants the prize, right? And so often what happens is we think that we think that the prospect's the prize, and so we try to impress. We dance, we chase. We're really friendly and eager and enthusiastic. Just think about that. If on a sales call your tone is friendly and enthusiastic, by the way, there's going to be value bombs galore. I'm gonna look at the script every now and again, the slides, but every now and again, like most of the time, we're going to spend time off the reservation, just giving you what like an IV drip of like sales, thinking straight into your head. So kind of take great notes, and it is being recorded at least 3 times. So here's the thing: in every sales conversation, there's the prize. One of you's the prize, and one of you wants the prize. And the big mistake we have is thinking that they're the prize, and we're trying to kind of earn their love and respect and have them like us. Not cool. We want to flip it so that you're the prize, so that they're the ones coming to you, that you're the one who's in the power position, so to speak. And it's not, we don't have to be douchey or manipulative about this, but let's just be honest. They wouldn't be talking to you. Hakagure, that's right, not Sakagare. I think my one was a beer, and Hagakure is the Book of Samurai. Thank you very much, very helpful. You're the prize. They're the ones with the problem. You're the one who might have the answer. So if they're the one with the problem, they're coming to you because they've got a goal that they want and they don't have, or a problem that they have and they don't want. You're the prize. So let's stop acting like we're the ones trying to impress them. Got it? So we're gonna do takeaway positioning. We want to make it really clear that you're the one who's in limited supply and high demand. Make sense? You're the prize that they're desperately seeking to get. There's this Australian copywriter, a guy called Pete Godfrey, swarthy man. Looks like he used to work in the Navy or on the docks or something. He's rough around the edges, probably has cats, and he talks with his gravelly voice. He's a copywriter. He goes, Taki, you got to tell him of what he goes, Taki, you got to get them hot to what you got. And then tell them they can't have it. Like, Pete, that's great advice. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to get people hot for what we've got and then take it away, show them they can't have it. I don't know if you've seen this. Apparently, Sir Ernest Shackleton, when he was launching a trip to the Antarctic, I think it was the Antarctic, could have been the Arctic, had an ad out. And this could be completely made up story. I don't know if it's true or not. But the story, the legend says that there was this ad which said, men wanted for hazardous journey. For some reason, this always sounds better when I do it in my pirate voice. Men wanted for hazardous journey, small wages, bitter cold, months of complete darkness and constant danger. Safe return doubtful, honor and recognition in case of success. Right? And apparently there was a queue all around the block for people queuing up to audition for this job. That's what we want. We want to say that it could be epic, but make you hard to get and have people queue up around the block to work with you. That's Australian Pirates. Exactly right. So I don't know if you've read this book. It's called Pitch Anything by Oren Klaff. Great sales book, and I'd love you to read it. Put that on your reading list. Strange guy, great book, and he talks about prizing. You know, who's the prize? And one of the ways you can set yourself up as a prize is what he calls a time frame. So there's the prize frame, which is I'm the prize and you're not, and there's a time frame. My time is scarce and more valuable, and your time is less. Okay, there's two kind of things that he wants to set up. So he's got this CEO that he's been trying to get hold of and frankly hasn't got through to. So he just sends this short email. John, I've been on a large assignment for Chevrolet. Sorry I couldn't meet with you earlier. In other words, my time is valuable. I've been spending it doing important things with important people. Back on the grid now. Let's do a 15-minute call early next week. Talk about your creative director needs. If it's not right for me, I'll connect you with some strong candidates. I'll calendar through your admin. Have a look at that. What does that message say about time, importance, prize? What does that little email say? Can you type into the box, please? Prize framing. Yeah, I'm the prize. Exactly. What else? I make the decisions. I don't care if you say no. I'm busy, in demand. I might be able to give you 15 minutes. It's professional, not arrogant. I think that's a really key distinction. That's exactly what we want. You don't have to be a douche or a dick out of it. You just want to be really clear that your time's important. Okay? So, one of the things that you've probably heard me talk about, and if you haven't, you're about to. I think this is the most important piece. I think about every single sales appointment like an audition on American Idol, right? You know that show? There's the judges there and Simon Cowell, and somebody comes up on stage and they try to impress the judges. That's what the audition person's job is, and the judge's job is to assess their audition, work out if they're a fit or not. Here's the big flip I want you to get. Every sales conversation is like an audition on American Idol, and what often happens is we're trying so hard to impress the potential client with our knowledge and our value, and we try to be likable and enthusiastic and friendly and smart, and we share our knowledge and our skill. We're trying to impress this person so that they like us and they hire us. And what that says to me is you've got the idea that it's an audition, right? That you think you're on stage auditioning instead of in Simon Cowell's chair judging, and that's really what you're doing. Your job when you talk to a potential client, whether it's in a triage call or a strategy session or frankly on stage, whatever you do, your job is to audition, is to assess the audition, work out, are they a fit for us or not? I want you to think about, I don't even have a light switch in here. I don't know how the lights go on or off. I want you to think about, my job is to work out if we're a fit or not. It's like a light switch, right? I'm either on, we're a good match, or off, we're not. And so all your job is to have a conversation and work out, are we a fit or not, are we not? Is this making sense? If we're not a fit, it doesn't matter what. There's nothing you can do that's going to make someone who's not a fit become a fit. They're a fit or they're not. So if you're not a fit, you don't have to manipulate, you don't have to stack bonuses, you don't have to add scarcity or urgency, you don't have to do any kind of tricks to get them to buy. We're not a fit. Figure that out quickly, move on, and be cool with it. Success is knowing if we're a fit or not. Ari Galper, a great friend of mine, taught me this idea of fit, no fit, years and years ago, taking the pressure right out. So if we're not a fit, there's nothing I can do that's going to make us fit, so I'm just going to leave it right there. I had a guy in Blackdog send a screenshot of a conversation he's having in Facebook with a potential client, and it's really clear to everyone except for him that not a fit. It's ridiculous. And everyone's just like, dude, not a fit. move on. You've identified that we're not a match. So stop chasing something that, frankly, isn't, like I said, do they have a problem you can help them solve or not? He's like, I'm not sure. I'm like, well, read the thing. It looks pretty clear that they don't, right? If you are a fit, so if you're not a fit, there's nothing you can do that's really going to help. If you are a fit, there's nothing you need to do because it'll be obvious to you and obvious to them, and they'll work with you. It's really simple. So your job isn't to try to impress the client. Your job is to assess their audition for you. Does that make sense? What I'd love you to do right now is just kind of type in how that idea of impress and assess relates to you. Going to give you a minute right now just to write in, have you been impressing? Have you been assessing? What's your thoughts about how that piece relates to you? I'd love to have a quick conversation about that before we move on. Yeah. So, okay, so send the person to someone who might be a better fit. Yep. Jen says, I've been impressing and chasing. So what happens when you chase? Right? Even as a kid, when someone's chasing you, you run. That's what happens. You literally, here we go, let's have a look. Switch to assessing from the time of your workshop in London. Sergey, love that. Assessing as tried some of this from the 2-day intensive. Carol, beautiful. Literally stop selling and trying to impress. Make them do the selling of why they should be able to work with you. Yes. Need to be really clear about your service. Yep. I've been impressive, probably coming across as a bit needy. Yeah, probably. Bit of both in theory, but in reality, more trying to impress. Right. Assessing, I'm the prize. Like even if you get all of the language right in the triage call and the strat session, if you come from this, I'm here to work out if we're a fit position. If we're not going to do anything. If we are, we are. Simple, right? Yes, the why me question, Amanda, is exactly what this is about. Totally. All right, so let's get back to where we were. Okay. So first job is we're going to pre-sell. We're going to have the marketing do a bunch of the heavy lifting so people come to you hungry. Next, we're going to take it away. You know, the marketing gets them hot for what you got, and then the takeaway tells them they can't have it. It's pirate voice today. I don't know what's going on. And make sure you're the prize. The third step in this sales process is that we're going to get them naked and needy. In other words, incredibly transparent about what's really going on in their world, in their life, and in their business. We're going to have them drop the mask, open the kimono and say, sorry, that's a gross metaphor. We're going to get them to be super clear about what's the complete truth about their situation, what they actually need and what not. One of our black belts had this. Let me show you this because it was super smart. This is in response to the guy who was trying to get the guy who wasn't a fit. Yeah, that piece. Let me just bring it up. Groups, black belt. All right, here we go. So 26 comments helping him out. Here's some feedback. Dude, this feels like watching a high school kid try to chat up his teacher. Weird and awkward at the same time. Dude, move on to somebody else. Rules for an ideal client. Can you add massive value to their life and business? Can they easily afford your services? Do you want to work with them now and in the future? Can you easily find them? Sounds like 2 and 3 are missing. Peace out. Move on. Okay, this is from John Cottrell, who's a client in England. As I said to one prospect, you can't know everything and still be broke. One of your assumptions must be wrong. Let me know when you figured out which one it is. In other words, we're a fit or not, we want to get them to kind of drop the mask, stop pretending and playing games, and just be transparent about, you know what, this bit is great, but this bit sucks. Does that make sense? All right. So number 3, we want to get them naked and needy. And so I'm just going to pause right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw out our sales process for you. So again, all you need right now is a sheet of paper. And let's draw this. We call this the perfect prospect pipeline. All right. So there's 4 steps up my drawing game. Next level. Here we go. Okay. So 4 steps. The first thing that we have in our system here, this first box on the top left, is an indoctrination event. When I say indoctrination event, I want you to think any kind of education-based marketing. In other words, it's marketing that teaches people what to want. It sets up the need for what you've got, and its real job is to get people hungry. So to make this really practical, this could be a webinar, like we talked about. It could be a live event. It could be, to a lesser extent, it could be blog content. It's any kind of content that people consume that gets them hungry for what you've got. For most of us, it's going to be a webinar, right? It could be a launch, tele-seminar, webinar, same. So its job is to get people hot and excited about what you got. Make sense? So that's the very first step. Now, what happens is we market the webinar, the event, the content, the launch, and at the end of it, people get, wow, that's exactly what I want. They're really, really excited. And the risk is that you end up having a lot of people wanting to talk to you who maybe aren't that great a fit. And so we need to come to the second step in our process. And the second step in our process is called the funnel filter. And the funnel filter's job is to work out who's a really good match for us and who's not. It's like the qualification step. You with me? So you run a webinar and lots of people go, wow, that looks really, really interesting. And then they're going to go to, let's say, book into your diary, into your calendar. What we want to have happen is we want to make sure that you only spend quality time with quality people. Yeah. So you're not having to spend hours with people who maybe aren't a great match for you. So the funnel filter is a mixture of a few different things. Oops. On the webinar at the end, you're going to do number one, a value model. And the value model is a drawing that you will draw or something you say, but it's usually best done as a visual, which explains who should and who your thing's for and who it's not for. So if you've ever been to a Disneyland or a theme park like that as a kid maybe, and they have that little sign which says, you have to be this tall to ride. And you're like this tall and you're like, oh, please, let me. And you're like up on your tiptoes. That's what we want. We want to have you must be this tall to ride in your process. So we can talk about value models a little bit later if you want to, but just imagine we've got a drawing that we draw, which says, like, for example, in Black Belt, we draw this model, which tracks two things. It tracks people's monthly revenue or monthly income and how much time they're working in their business, right? So we go time, imagine that's a clock, and this is dollars. And effectively, we break the revenue up into 6 levels. And if you've been to a $1 Million Coach Intensive, you've probably seen this. If you've been on one of my $1 Million Coach webinars, I'm sure you've probably seen this. We talk about startup. We talk about survival, yeah? And we track revenue, from 0 to 5K a month, from 5 to 10K a month, from 10 to 20K a month, from 20 to 40, from 40 to 80K a month, and to 160 plus. And here we track time, right? Blah, 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 blah. And the point of all this is when I draw a value model, it has 3 core components. I want you to write these down, please. It has 3 core components. Number one, it has a currency of worth. What's the currency of worth? Well, something that your client wants more of or less of. In this case, they want more money and they want more free time. Okay? They also want more impact. But the main two here are money and time. So number one, it needs the currency of worth. Number 2, it needs location. So when you look at this, you might go, that's where I'm at. I'm at survival mode. Or, hey, that's where I'm at. I'm in stability right now. You need to know where you are. That's location. And thirdly, we want aspiration, which is, I'd love to get to here. Yeah? So I can see, hey, I'm here right now and I want to get to there or, wherever it is, up there. So we want a currency that matters. We want location. We want aspiration. So let me ask you this. If you had a model that allowed you, that you could draw out that would have people go, there's currencies that I care about, on the left and right, for example, and there's a progression like this, and I can see where I'm at and I can see where I want to be at. What kind of an impact does that make on your potential client? How does that help them choose you? Yeah, Gil, Amanda's right. So we want the currency, location, and aspiration. Yeah, what happens? They want help to get to the next level. Yes, it gives them clarity and it's right there in their face. It makes it clear whether you're for them or not, because then you can say, if you are, for example, in Black Belt, if you are here or above, then Black Belt's for you. If you're here or below, then the implementation program will get you there. That's how it does. Great content helps them decide what their issues are, 100%. Anytime, Dan Kennedy years ago said, if somebody puts a ladder in front of you, our natural inclination is to climb it, right? So our job is to put ladders in front of people and not to climb them ourselves. Yeah? Your job is to put ladders in front of people. But what else happens? The moment on my webinar, I reckon here's a few things happen. They go, hey, I'm here, I'm there. The moment you draw it out like this, a few things happen. Number one, and correctly so, people infer that, in my case correctly so, that, hey, this guy must be at 160K plus. Yeah, which is correct. Number two, the moment you lay out the plan, so first one, you are here. Number two, that you've got a pathway for getting people up there. In other words, you can help me climb it. Those are great things for your potential clients to know about you. Does that make sense? It creates an emotional gap. Totally does. Anyway, so if we come back here, we have a value model that says you must be this tall to write. And it doesn't have to be about dollars. It just has to be something which says, if you're like this and this and this, I can help you. And if you're like that and that and that, I probably can't, right? Something that filters people out. Number two, Number two. So you need a value model, by the way. Okay. Number two, we need some kind of questionnaire. I never spelled questionnaire right, so I don't know if it's two N's, one R, or the other way around. I just got one of each. I'm sure it's wrong. You need a questionnaire. The questionnaire is going to ask three kinds of questions. It's going to ask contact questions like, name, phone number, email. It's going to ask gap questions. Where are you now? Where do you want to be? What's holding you back? And it's going to ask priority questions. Why do you need this now? Okay. And when you've got their contact info, they've established the gap, and they've told you what's important to them, then it's worth going to the next step. Making sense, guys? Yeah? So there's a little bit of background noise somewhere. Can you just please check that your mic is muted? It could well be at my end, but I'd love to just yep. Yeah, both currencies can totally be qualitative. I'm thinking about time and connection. Like impact is qualitative. How do you measure that? Well, you just create words which talk about the different levels, right? So what happens is value model, questionnaire, and calendar. So they can book themselves in, like a calendar link. Yeah. When you do that, you end up filtering out the people who you're not a fit for and having the rest book in for step 3. So let's just pause and check in. What's been most helpful for you so far from seeing this sales process? What's been most helpful so far? The filter, value model. Yeah, adding the value model. Okay, great. Realizing the value model, but no clue how to apply to my peeps. I'm the prize. Do they get the questionnaire before the calendar link? Most helpful geometry. Right, love it. Love some shapes. You can test both ways. For me, because of we get a ton of leads, I usually do questionnaire then calendar. If there's not enough leads, consider flipping that around and having people book in and then do it on the next page. And if they're not a fit, just undoing the appointment. Yeah? Okay. So what this does is it gives you qualified people, and which will then take them down to step 3. And step 3 is the triage call. Step 3 is a triage call. And great sales trainer Bill Brooks said years ago, before he died, unfortunately, well, thankfully he said it before he died. If he said it after he died, it'd be kind of creepy, a little bit weird. He said that the best salespeople in the world have 2 abilities that set them apart from everybody else. 2 abilities that set them apart from everybody. So just think, there's only 2 abilities you could have as a salesperson that would help you become one of the top 5%. These are the 2 skills. Number 1, the ability to build trust faster. That's the ability to build trust quickly. And number 2, the ability to qualify buyers better. So we want to build trust fast, and we want to qualify people in or out, fit, no fit, better than everybody else can. That's what the triage call does. It builds trust fast, and it qualifies buyers better, and it literally goes for 9 or 10 minutes. At the end of 9 or 10 minutes, we can work out, are we a fit or are we not a fit? Does that make sense? There's a few questions here about the funnel, about the triage call, about the value model. I'm giving you the overview right now, and then we'll dig in deeper in just a minute. So thanks for the questions. Save them, and we'll come to them in a sec. Okay. So triage call is next. It's a 10-minute phone call that qualifies people in or out. It works out, are we a fit or are we not a fit? It builds trust and it qualifies buyers. At the end of the triage call, I know that they're going to buy. So at the end of the triage call, I already know, okay, this person's about to become a client. They have no clue yet. Okay? So at the end of the triage call, I know they're going to become a client, and you know what? My bad drawing is making me, that's better. That's better. I know it's nerdy, I apologize. So at the end of the triage call, I know they're going to become a client. They don't know it yet, and that's what the next step is for. The next step is called the strategy session. This is so the triage call goes for about 10 minutes. The strategy session is like 45 minutes or an hour or whatever, and it's designed to get a client at the end. Make sense? So we're going to pause. In a minute, we're going to zoom into these pieces in more detail here and here. Right now, it sounds like there are some questions to clean up around this. So let's spend a couple of minutes on that. And editing team, I know you're going to cut the video right here. And I know you've probably cut it twice already. You know, the white piece and this piece. And then we'll jump into the triage call and strat session in a second. So let's just pause. I'd love to do a quick 3 minutes on the funnel filter. Make sure we're all really clear. So any questions about that, please type them in now. And if you've already typed them, please type them in again, and I'll answer them for you now. All right. At what point do you share the model, and how do you do it? I do it if I'm at a live event at the front of the room. I draw this just before I transition into my offer. If I'm on a webinar, I do this again just before I transition to the offer. So the short answer is, when do you do it? Before you get people to book themselves in. And you could draw the whole model out, or you could just say, I work with people who make $10,000 a month and I help them get to $1 million a year. So if you're at or above $10,000 a month, then Black Belt could be a really great match for you. The next step is this. If you're below that right now, if you're in startup or survival mode, totally get it. Great place to move through. I've got another option for you. Happy to talk about it later on. If that's you, just type in if you're on a webinar, if that's you, I'd like you to type in survival or startup into the chat box, and I'll follow up with you after the webinar and get you the info about that program. But if you're at 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or whatever $1,000 a month, you want to get to $1 million a year or more, then listen up. That's how you do it. Does that make sense? Do questionnaires scare people? No, dude. I've never once been scared of a questionnaire. The only thing that scares me about questionnaires is that they're really long and really boring. So if you go to joinblackbelt.com/session, you'll see an example of the questionnaire. It's 6 questions. It'll take people about 2 minutes to fill out total. Cool? And it's not a cognitive, it's emotional. So what's your current revenue? What's your monthly revenue? Seriously, why haven't you hit your goals yet? So logic, emotion. Cool. You said currency and 2 others. Yeah, wrong. 1, currency of value. In other words, stuff that they care about and want more or less of. It could be money. What are some currencies? It could be money. It could be time. It could be status or prestige. It could be love. It could be energy. I'm making these diagrams up as I go. The last one I'm not going to draw. I've got a dating coach client who sells the number of and quality of people you date. So it's like a scale from 1 to 10 in terms of quality, and it's number of dates per week. So basically, you're not inviting everyone to a triage call. No, dude, I'm totally not inviting them to a triage call. If they're not a match for me, and if I don't have a program that's a match for everybody, I want to filter that out up front. So I only have triage calls with people who are likely to buy. How do you build value from the indoctrination event and make the transition into the funnel filter questionnaire? Dude, if you do the sales webinar the way I showed you in the webinar session, people are going to be desperate they're going to be itchy and desperately want a solution. And so the next step is to book in for a 10-minute call where we will do X, Y, and Z. Make sense? When do you send people to the questionnaire? Okay, so imagine we've got your webinar, for example. At the end of the webinar, we do your model, if you want to, or just say, you've got to be doing $10,000 a month or more. Then in my world, I send them straight to the questionnaire. And then on the next page, I send them to the calendar. That's how it works for me. I've got several clients who do it the other way around, and they get more lead flow. That way, again, it's just a question of, do you have more leads you can handle or not enough? Make sense? Cool. If you only find a few hot clients, does that mean your market might not be the right one? Well, maybe, but it's more likely that your messaging isn't strong enough yet. Yeah? All right, let's talk about the triage call. Is that cool? If you're good so far, just type in GTG. That'll be good to go. Welcome to today's session, implementation program. Today we're going to be talking about auditioning clients and how to do the sales process in a way that converts people from curious to committed, from prospects to paying clients. Is really what we're about today. Just before we kick off, what I'd love to know is what progress you've made since last week. So just think about the last 7 days. What wins have you had? Big things, small things, I don't mind. I just want to know kind of where you're at and what progress you've made, okay, just as we kick off today. Okay, so just take a second. Thanks, Katie. It's way better than Greg. I appreciate it. What progress have you made in the last 7 days? Yes, last week's was, Amanda. I'll make sure that's online for you within soon. How about that? I know you've got a webinar soon, so I'll get it up ASAP. Putting together a live presentation using format. Love that. Katie, got that? Done format sheets for my 6-week program. Started marketing my webinar on the 5th of Jan. Love that. Adverts in Facebook and AdWords to promote tomorrow's webinar. Marion, good job. I saw that. Created my course outline. Tested first topic with the course one-on-one with a couple of clients. Created first outline for first webinar. Love that. Re-engagement campaign for my database. Webinar last night. 53 leads to follow up on. Jackie, very excited about that. What was the topic, not the title, but the topic of your webinar? So was it about how to sell more stuff? Was it about how to do social media? What was the theme or the kind of the big idea of it? 2-week daily challenge. Love that. Super cool. Jackie, do me a favor. We're going to have some Q&A at the end of today's session. Stress management. Oh, that's right. Now, is the client, like, does somebody pay and you work with a kid, or does somebody pay and you work with them to help the kid? Jackie, everybody else wants that. This is important and you can learn a ton. Jackie, do you coach the kid or do you coach the parent or the teacher? Coach the teacher. Cool. All right. So what I'd love you to do is send out an email today, the next morning after the webinar, right? Or as soon as, if that's already yesterday, do it again. Do it, first thing in the morning. Send, in other words, after we're off this webinar today. Just send out a message saying, would you like me to work with, would you like to work with me on your stress management for kids? I would literally just say that. Would you like to work with me on stress management for your kids? Send that and see what happens, okay? I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. I am recording. Actually, I've got a crew here that's recording. Yeah, to everyone who was on the webinar. Now, you've just freaked me out. Let's make sure that it is recording. I think it already was, but I'm just going to press it again. You can never record too much, especially when you're talking more. All right, let's do this, gang. Implementation program. Very, very excited. So today we're going to talk about how to... Did you see what I just saw? Something spell checked. We're going to auction clients. Dude, comedy of errors. Let's start fresh, shall we? Shabam! Welcome to this session on how to audition clients. Really, really excited about it today. I want to talk to you really about the biggest flip you can make mentally and positioning-wise that makes a difference from you talking to people and chasing them to having them come to you and begging you to work with them. We're going to talk about how to audition clients. Before we get started, I want to introduce you to a great client of mine. His name's Cy Harris. And I know thousands of coaches all around the world. And out of all of those coaches, there's one guy who sold, there's two guys who've sold more coaching than anyone else I know on the planet. They both happen to be Australian. One is a guy from Melbourne, and the other guy is a guy here from New South Wales, where I live. His name is Cy Harris, and he was the business development manager, or the rainmaker, the guy whose job it was to go out and sell, basically to sign up coaching clients for a group of coaches. He had probably at its peak 10 or 15 coaches, and his job was to he had a team that would line up appointments, and then his job was to go out and close the deals, right? And what that meant was that some days he would literally be in a car driving from appointment to appointment, and close, I don't know, 10, maybe 15 clients in a day, big days, just closing clients and signing them up. So out of everyone I know, he's probably sold more coaching than anyone else. Business coaching, at $2,000 or whatever it is a pop, $2,000 a month. And he was in my workshop when I taught this a little while ago, and I felt really awkward. In fact, I stopped the workshop and said, we're in the presence of a really great salesperson in terms of coaching, and I feel a bit awkward like teaching this stuff to you. And he said, well, the only reason I'm good is because I'm always hungry to get better. And so I taught him this, and his close rate went up significantly, like to the point that it added an extra $40,000 or $50,000 a month to his income. He went from closing a little bit over half to closing almost everyone he talked to. And so I want to share that with you, just to say this stuff really works, even if you're freaking epic at this already. So what I'd love to know is if you think about the last 10 people, I don't know if you keep stats on this or not. If you don't, you should. What your sales conversion rate is from like sales appointment to signed up new clients. What I'd love to know is either if you've got actual stats, not like I think it's this. If you've got an actual stats, what's your percentage close rate from meet potential client to sign up client? What's that percent? If you don't, just think about the last 10 people you talked to, and I want you to write in what how many of the 10 you signed up. Can you just type in a number for us? If you're not sure, just type in a question mark, and that will be fine as well. 4, 1, 8, I think 0. Not sure. Okay, cool. So here's our job today is if you've never sold coaching before, or you're frankly really underconfident and not very good at it, our job today is to get you to 60%. If you're already at 60 or 70%, our job is that you'll easily be able to get to 80. And if you get good at this, you'll be at 90 plus like we are. Cool? So, so guys says 8 out of 10, but all I get are very hot before they come to me. So that's fantastic. So just think, if you could see 10 people this month and have at least 6 to 8 or 9 of them become clients, that's going to be time really, really well spent. Okay. So, I want to jump through here. In fact, let's do this. If you think about your current sales process, what's the hardest part about selling your coaching right now? Can you do me a favor and just type into the question box? Either what's broken in your current sales process, or what's the hard piece for you? Ready, set, go. So, okay, yeah. So I close really well, but I don't get very many. I understand. It's all offline at the moment. That's totally okay. I need better qualified candidates, asking for the sale, talking about the money. Knowing when to do the pitch. I'm starting new, says Brenda. Interesting. Getting enough leads in the first place. Closing. They need to consult their hubby. Amanda, totally hear you. They want it, but they don't want it now. I feel like they don't really know, like, or trust me, so it can feel a bit hard sell, a little bit pushy girl. Totally get that. Okay. So what we want to do is we're going to take the weirdness out and we want to put the awesomeness back in. And today, what I'm going to teach you is a really simple 4-step sales pipeline. And then we're going to dig deep into them. Is that cool?
Hey there, welcome to the attraction module of Business by Design. Now, you already know that we do things a little differently here in Business by Design. We like to say that our strategies feel a bit counterintuitive. Dare I say, #backwards. And this is no exception here. Now, you already know Business by Design is not intended to teach like today's latest Instagram strategies and how to do this with your podcast and all that type of stuff. In fact, in this module, we're actually going to have a list of resources and recommendations from not just the people that I've personally learned from, but also people that are members of the BBD community who I full-heartedly endorse, so that you can go out and use these tools and platforms to start attracting more audiences, more of the right audience. But here's the thing you got to get, okay? These are tools. And the big mistake that so many make, and these are the people that don't have an audience at all, that's why they're making this mistake, is thinking that the tool is responsible for your audience growth. It's not. Okay? No tool will ever be responsible for your audience growth. How do we know that? Because when you see someone with 1 million followers on Instagram, how many people are doing the same things, using the same tool, the same little, sneaky tactics and stuff, and they have little to no audience? How many podcasts go unlistened to? How many Facebook groups with like less than 100 members? It's not the tool, it's you. We need to be worth attracting. Like, we need to show up in a way that is attraction based. And you may not know what that means right now. You're going to. Now, first of all, like, you already know that if you're like, who would want to follow me? Who would want to follow me? Why would anyone? I'm not good enough, all that stuff. Like, I hear that. That's your little monkey mind, coming in the corner. But if you show up like that, no one wants to follow. Would you follow an account like that? Unless it's like someone like a friend or something. But would you follow and be inspired by somebody that's like, hey, I'm afraid? No, of course not. So what most people are doing is they're saying, how do I build a following? How do I build a following? How do I build a following? And they're asking the wrong question. The right question is, how do I be a leader? How do I be a leader? What does a leader look like? What do I do, create? How do I show up in a way that's worth following? And that's the first video that we're going to get into today. So if you watched our free series, The Rise of the Digital CEO, which, by the way, you have full access to as a member of Business by Design, then I took you through an abridged version of an exercise that I'm going to take you through right now. And I'm going to ask that even if you heard it, even if you went through it, that you really get present to it now, because the fact that you're here watching this video means this is important to you, that this is something you want to do. So we got to do it. We got to go through this process because it's a series of questions. It's a couple of exercises that's going to have you discover something you haven't figured out yet. It's something that I can't answer for you, that no one else can answer for you but you. So if you want me to tell you the answer, it's never coming. If you want, your friends to tell you, it's never coming. Your spouse, not going to happen. It's going to have to come from who? That's right, you. So you want to get this answer? You want to get this uncovered? Let's get into it. All right, really simple. Step number 1, and you're going to pause this video when you to do it, is you simply want to identify 3 to 5 influencers that you currently look up to. And what I mean by look up to is like you actively follow them. Okay? Now, you can use someone other than me. This isn't for me. You don't need to flatter me. But who are people that you look up to? And it could be in any realm. It does not matter. It could be your industry. It could be a completely different industry. It does not matter. But who are people that every time they post, you got to see? Every time they create content, you got to stop and see. Okay? Take the time, pause this video, and do that now. Now, hopefully you did that, because step 2, you're going to look at each person that you wrote down, and you're going to come up with a list of why specifically do you follow them. Take the time to do that, okay? Use words, like a single word, characteristic, description to describe why do I follow this person? What is it about them? Adjectives, characteristics, ways of being. And write those down. If you're not taking at least 5 to 10 minutes on this, you're not doing it right. So pause this video for 5 to 10 minutes and write this down. Okay, did you do that? Yes, of course you did. All right. You're not just going through the motions. Please, it doesn't work like that. Oh, I know this already. No, you don't. That's why you're here, is to learn it, discover it. So step number 3, you're going to circle the top 5 characteristics that you admire or want or desire the most. Like, oh, yes, it's totally about this. Like, what are the ones that stand out to you the most? Like, what are the biggest, the boldest, the brightest? Like, the ones that are just like, yes, please. Okay? So maybe you're circling things like confidence. Maybe you're like circling something like authenticity or speaking your truth, whatever it is. There's no right or wrong answer to this, but you have to choose the ones that are right for you. Now, let me ask you, are you in your head about this? Are the people you follow in their heads all the time? Is that why you follow them, is because they're in their heads? You're like, wow, I just love how much this person's in their head. You're like, yeah, well, sometimes the person I follow talks about how they get in their heads. Oh, so is that why you follow them, or do you follow them because they're authentically, vulnerably sharing what they struggle with? Were they in their head when they wrote that post? Interesting. See what we're doing here? Circle the ones that you're just like, yes, please, serve me up some of this. This is like high on my value scale for me. This is important for me. Okay? Did you do that? I hope you did. 5. You can circle more if you'd like. You can circle less if you'd like too. But 5 is a good number. Step number 4, when you look at these ones that you did, these qualities and characteristics, maybe it's like vulnerability, courage, rocking the boat, whatever it is, right? Whatever you came up with. We do this all the time with our students, especially at our like workshops and events. I want you to be really honest with yourself. Now, look, you can lie to me, but you can't lie to yourself. And I want you to score yourself on how you would rate yourself with each of these qualities. So 10 is like nailed it, you're a master. 1 or 0 is like not at all, and then anywhere in between. So you're gonna look at that one like courage, and what we're talking about is in the context of you showing up to your audience, like when you're doing that podcast or that Facebook Live or Instagram, whatever, and you want to honestly rate yourself right now. Not how you want to be, not how you're going to be tomorrow, how you have been in the past. Look back. How have you been? Look at courage. Is that like a 10? 2? Is it 5? What is that? Be honest with yourself. Get out of your head about it and really feel for the answer. Okay? And just notice where you are. I'm going to give you a moment to do that. And pause this video. I'll be here when you're done. Okay. So if you did that, what you have right now is 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever qualities that you wrote down, and you have a number next to them. And that number is either high or low. Now, if it's low, are you already judging yourself and beating yourself up? Like, oh, gosh darn it, I'm no good and I suck and all that stuff. Who are you being right now when you beat yourself up? How are you showing up right now when you just like shame yourself? You're just being full of shame and self-loathing. How do you think that's going to build an audience? How do you think that's going to get you to where you want to go? It's not. It's about self-love. Okay? You didn't know. You just didn't know. And now you do. If you actually did this exercise, I absolutely know there's going to be someone out there that this was like a huge light bulb epiphany, because we're the last person to realize how we show up to the rest of the world. Okay? So let's just get present to this. If your numbers are lower than you'd like, let me ask you a question. Is your audience numbers also lower than you'd like? In other words, if you're like, have all these qualities about why you follow other people, and they demonstrate it as a level of 9 or 10, but you demonstrate it as like a 3 or a 4, and they have an audience and you don't, do you think that's just a coincidence? Or do you think there's a correlation? In other words, if these were a 10, do you think more people would just be blown away, enamored, and inspired to follow you? Now, you already know that the answer is yes. However, your little ego might be starting to say stuff, but that's not me. I can't do that, and I don't know how to do that. You're just going to dismiss that voice in your head. I mean, you can listen to it all you want. That's what you've been doing up until this point. How's that been working out for you? I just want to remind you, that guy on the left was me when I started my business. Okay? And I used to tell myself all the same stuff. And I can only imagine, we could both kind of guess where I'd be today if I kept listening to that voice in my head. I'm not like these other people. I don't have something special. Blah, 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 blah. They are all just lies that we are repeating to ourselves over and over and over again. But that is not who you really are. And if you continue to believe these lies that, I don't have confidence, like you have to go to the confidence store to get it. I'm just not this courageous. I just don't have anything to share, and I don't this and I don't that. Look, whatever you speak and believe to be true in your mind just gets projected and becomes your reality, so nothing's going to change. Have you ever considered that the people you do follow are only being these qualities is because they decided that they could be these things themselves, which means if they could do it, you can too. And it starts one decision, one choice at a time, moment by moment. That's what I had to do, and I'm telling you, just look at the kid on the left. If I can do it, you can absolutely do it. There's just no excuse. But this is where it starts, folks. This is where it starts. No, James, I just want to know Instagram tactics. Great. We have recommendations for whose courses and products to buy from, so you can do that. But even though those programs are awesome and amazing, there will still be people that buy them. Do not pay attention to this. Skip this, and they will follow every strategy in the book, and they will fail because they didn't get this. The question is, are you getting this? So that takes us to step 5. With each quality that you wrote down, with each adjective, what would it look like if you showed up this way as a 10? This is a journaling exercise. What would it look like? And you got to get specific. What is something you could do today to demonstrate this quality? And you're going to do this for every single quality that you wrote down. Now, again, this is the work. Oh, James, I just want to build my funnel. How many people are there with funnels that don't work? Funnels with a bunch of holes in them. I wouldn't be sharing this if this wasn't one of the most important, if it's the number one most important thing when it comes to attraction. Number one, tell me what's more important. Oh, having the latest Instagram tactics. No, gosh, no. We don't know half of those things, and we're adding like 1,500 new followers a week. Why? Because people want to follow me, not because I use some gimmick. Are you going to rely on gimmicks or something that's never changing, unwavering? So you want to look at this and you want to write. You want to see whatever comes up. What is something that you could do to demonstrate this quality? What would courage look like today? Show me authentic. Show me brave. Show me authority. Show me contrarian. Show whatever it is. Show it. Let us see it. But I'm too afraid. Show me courage. Courage is not being afraid. It's about feeling fear and doing it anyway. That's called courage. So show us. Do that. Do that today. So you're gonna journal. You're gonna write whatever comes up with each one of these qualities. If you were at a level 10, what would that look like? What would that feel like, by the way? And then what would that look like specifically? Don't do this broad, vague stuff. It would look like amazing. It would look amazing. What? No, I mean specifically, what would you say? What would you do differently? You keep keeping it vague and wishy-washy. That doesn't mean anything. Well, it would be awesome and fluffy white clouds. No. What's that podcast that you would finally get out there? What is that Facebook Live that you would get on your soapbox about? What is that phrase you would say, that quote you'd come up with, that perspective that you would hold, that truth you would speak if you were a 10 on all of these? And I expect nothing less. And this is where you're screwed. I love you so much, but you're screwed because now you know what it's going to take from you. Now you know. And you're either choosing to operate from these qualities at a level 10 or not. You're choosing to show up this way or not. And only one of those options is going to get you what you want. That's your choice, but the thing is now you know. This is why 99, most likely 99% of people can take the same training, use the same tools, and not get the same results. I don't care if somebody is using all the fancy latest Instagram tools, but I have no reason to follow them. And you're the same way. You don't follow anybody unless there's something about them you want to follow. And yes, we can turn this into an energy conversation too. It's the same thing. It's our energy. Who are we attracting? How are we attracting? How are we showing up moment by moment? This is the most critical thing, and I hope you guys got that. I hope every single person listening got this, because to me, there's nothing more important. There's nothing more important. I hope that I can demonstrate that for you. I hope I can be proof of what's possible. I hope that you can emulate or model me in any way, because that's what I'm really here to do. I'm not here to teach you anything, fill your head with a bunch more stuff that we don't take action on. I'm here to be the proof of what is possible. Use me as an example. If that helps, fantastic. All right. This is the first major foundational piece of this. I hope you got it. All right. We'll move into some more tactical stuff, but this is it. This is the 90% here. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.